a very dynamic youth, a PhD holder below the age of 35. Today, the keynote speaker, Dr. Comrade Akbarawa, promise. Let me recognize the National Executive Council member at the National Youth Council of Nigeria, our brother, Ambassador, Comrade Uko Ukpong. Let me recognize the State Chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Comrade Barrister Theodore Williams. Let me recognize the President of the Village Youth of Akwa Ibom State, Comrade Ndu Akpan Davis. Let me recognize the Dakada Coordinator General of the entire Akwa Ibom State, Comrade Victor Kofi. Let me recognize the Coordinator of the Akwa Ibom State Christian Youths, Evangelist Ubong Itwen. Let me recognize the President General of the Youths on the Streets, the Street Youth Network of Akwa Ibom State, Comrade Uwemedimo Asukwo. Let me recognize the President General, the International President General of the Akwa Ibom State Female Youths. Let me recognize very respectfully all the aides of the governor. There are too many. All the aides of the governor who are youth in Akwa Ibom State. The governor has graciously given us over 300 youths as aides. They are all here present. All the aides of governor. I recognize you, led by our ranking Esiendueso. I recognize all of you. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our sisters. Let me recognize very specially the Dagada ambassadors in the house. All the Dagada ambassadors in the house. I recognize you people. Thank you very much for maintaining peace in Akwa Ibom, for making Akwa Ibom to be peaceful. Let me recognize our health talk speaker, another female youth who has distinguished herself in her career, rose to the position of Assistant Director of Nursing at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, Mrs. Oforime Eshet. For a very personal reason, let me recognize my beautiful wife, very loving wife, a principal nursing officer at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital. Comrade Udwak Aniefyo Iwa Udofia. I recognize all the youths of Akwa Ibom State. I recognize every distinguished youth of Akwa Ibom State. May God bless all of you in Jesus' mighty name. An address presented by Comrade Aniefyo Iwa Udofia, Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Youth Matters and Chairman, Akwa Ibom State Youth Caucus, on occasion of International Youth Day celebration at Ibom Hall, Uyo, Thursday, August 12, 2021. Your Excellency, let me on behalf of the entire youth of Akwa Ibom State welcome you and indeed everyone here present to the 2021 International Youth Day. This is a day set aside to recognize and bring to the fore problems faced by the youths. This year's event tagged Transforming Food Systems, Youth Innovation for Human and Planetary Health is very significant to us here in Akwa Ibom State. This year's theme is in tandem with the completion agenda of His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel, especially in the area of agriculture. Before I continue, let me salute the efforts of the current administration of Governor Udom Emmanuel to better the lot of Akwa Ibom youths. As I have noted at different fora, many achievements recorded by Governor Udom Emmanuel's administration have direct benefits to the youth more than any other sector of the society. The governor has played a leading role in ensuring that our youths are not only carried along in politics, but are given positions and opportunities that will help them take better and useful decisions to enhance their future and that of our dear states. Today, we are here as visionaries, smart, intelligent, and creative youths of Akwa Ibom State that are not deterred by challenges of life. We are inspired by the Dakada philosophy of His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel, with the can-do and unbreakable spirit of a typical Akwa Ibom son and daughter to discuss, design, and create ways to solve these global issues. We are gathered here to highlight the role of youth's participation in achieving the goals of transforming food system through various innovative approaches. According to the United Nations, food system includes not only the basic elements of how we get food from the farms to the table, but also all the processes and infrastructures involved in feeding a population. It includes the negative complexities that can be generated during the process, such as air and ocean pollution, as well as desertification. In our society today, the number of people affected by hunger and malnutrition has increased despite the objective of achieving zero hunger, which also must be addressed within this context. It is a known fact that hunger drives forced displacement and vice versa, which can have a devastating impact on agricultural production. It is worthy to note that youth restiveness, rape, thuggery, cultism, alcoholism, and other violent crimes are offshoots of hunger, occasioned by poor food systems. The way forward, therefore, is that we must positively and consistently engage the youths in the activities that reduce their restiveness, while at the same time channel their energies and vitalities to positive burning issues. At this juncture, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, firm actions, and indeed, especially as it concerns activities around local interests of farmers in Akwa Ibom State, the role of youth employment and entrepreneurship in small farms in rural areas. More initiatives like the Akwa Ibom State Youth Entrepreneurial Goals Program, MEGP, which is handled by my dear brother, Mr. Imowa, by the Directorate of Marketing and Brand Management. Presently, we are also training about 3,000 youths in various skills that is being coordinated by the Ministry of Trade and Investment. And of course, the training of Akwa Ibom female youths by Her Excellency, Dr. Martha Udom Emmanuel, must be commended and encouraged. While we commend the current administration of Governor Udom Emmanuel for making practicable the Dakada philosophy by laying a good and solid foundation in the agricultural sector with the coconut refinery, flour mill, tomato revolution, hatchery, and so many industries too numerous to mention, let me particularly appeal to His Excellency that more youths please be recruited to man these establishments. Your Excellency, as a way of further encouraging Akwa Ibom youths to take up agricultural initiatives, may I humbly appeal to you as a father and leader of Akwa Ibom youths to please sign the Akwa Ibom State Youth Development Fund Bill into law. We are hopeful that this bill, when signed into law, will not only be an excellent instrument to galvanize resources for strategic wealth creation, but a synergy for a better agricultural development and advancement for Akwa Ibom youths. To the youths, let me admonish that we must continue to safeguard and build on these achievements by willingly making sacrifices for greater unity, peace, political stability, and progress in our beloved state and nation at large. We must also embrace the agricultural revolution of the current administration and contribute to food sufficiency in the states. Let me mention here and use this opportunity to clarify some burning issues in the states, that as youths, we must continue to obey our elders. We are not poised to insult or to embarrass our elders. We must remember that as youths, that we will become elders in future. And so when we disobey and insult our elders, we are keeping insults for our future, the days ahead of us. And so we are not insulting our elders. We will continue to rely on the wisdom and experiences of our elders for us to continue to thrive as successful youths. All the youths of Akwa Ibom State are saying is that youths must be involved in the policy formulation, in decision making, in critical aspects of decision making in the states. That youths must not only be future leaders, we must be seen and taken as a contemporary and, of course, partnership in today's leadership. Because tomorrow may never come. Tomorrow may never come. We must see ourselves as partners in today's leadership. And so, elders, please, I clarify these issues that we cannot, it is not the culture of Akwa Ibom people for youths or young people to insult elders. We'll continue to respect our elders and rely on your experiences and wisdom. Thank you very much. We must continue to stay united as a people and effectively resist by all possible means the evil machinations of political, religious, and ethnic disparities which seek to provoke turmoil, hatred, and harmful divisions amongst us. I urge us to remain steadfast. With the current administration of Governor Udom Emmanuel, we have never, ever had it so good in Akwa Ibom State. This is the only governor that thinks the youth, does the youth, and of course profess the youths. This is the only governor that has given the youths all the opportunities, all the platform for us to realize our potentials. This is the first governor ever in Akwa Ibom to have the highest number of youths in various positions of authority. This is the only gender-sensitive governor in Nigeria. Gender-sensitive. This is the governor that is not only giving 35% as other people are professing. In Akwa Ibom, is giving 50% to the female. This is the only governor. And I must commend Her Excellency, our beautiful and loving mother, Her Excellency, Dr. Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel. Let us please look to the future with renewed optimism and commitment to peace, unity, and togetherness. As we celebrate the 2021 International Youth Day, let me assure you that I will never allow my personal interest to supersede the general interest of the youth of Akwa Ibom State. Finally, as we continue, please feel free, relax, learn, interact, eat, drink, as we discuss, design, create new ways to address food systems in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you, and God bless you all. Beyond the youth.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State on Youth Mobilization, Comrade and Nefiok Wilson Iwaldofia. I think he deserves a bigger round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. If you're just joining us, to those watching us online, it is the International Youth Day celebration in Akwa Ibom State. And this is the Akwa Ibom part of the celebration. We welcome you. Thank you.
Transforming food systems. And now I'm currently at the exhibition booth where we have young actors who have displayed their agricultural products and who have also shown that they are involved and engaging in transforming today's food systems. So right here I am with the Akwa Ibom female youth, and currently I'm with their leader and also some of their ESCO members. And so I'd like her to introduce herself and also some of the items that they have displayed out here today.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Comrade Esther Nta-Iyang. I'm the International President, Akwa Ibom State Female Youth. Today, as we all know, is International Youth Day, and the theme of this year's International Youth Day is transforming food system. And as you can see, the Akwa Ibom State Female Youth are really involved in agriculture. This is our exhibition table. We bought a few items to exhibit here. We have, we're into cucumber farming, cabbage, we have carrots, we have garden egg, corn, tomato, pepper. All these are products we farm here. We have our own farm that we farm
So do you have a
here
name
in New York.
to your brand?
Yes, it is Akwa Ibom State Female Youth Farms.
Wow, that's
Yes.
great, that's great. And then we also have some other items that have been displayed here. We have eggs. What are these vegetables, please?
Okay, this is tomato.
Okay.
This is actually where we make the seedlings from.
Oh.
So this is tomato, this is fresh pepper. And we also have water leaf in our farm. Then here we have soya beans. Yes, it's actually made from beans.
So you process
Yes, we processed this and we made this. Then this is also beans. We can use this for beans cake, probably called akara or moi moi. So this is also made by us. Then we have custard that is also made by the Akwa Ibom State Female Youth. This is our product. It's our own custard. This is our brand. So it's our industrial custard. Okay. So yes. So
thank you so much.
So I'm here with my exco. These are the executive council members of the Akwa Ibom State Female Youth, and the publicity secretary. Please join us. She's also one of us here.
So it's actually a great thing to see that not just young people are engaged and are active in transforming today's food system. We have female youth, young people who are, looking at it, we have equality. And this is a good thing. This is what we are actually saying. This is what we are advocating for. That young people and also female youths are involved and are engaged in helping to transform our food system, curbing every gap involved in access, equality, and also finances that cuts across the agricultural sector. So we see that we have a lot going on here today, and we hope that you guys will be involved in the discussions in there, not just exhibiting.
No, we're done with the exhibition, so we're going into the hall. And I really want to thank Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Martha Udom Emmanuel for giving us this platform, for bringing young women together that have great minds, that think alike and act alike and behave alike. And we actually came together to start up so much. We're into so many other things apart from agriculture. So I really want to thank Her Excellency for that which she's doing in the life of the young women. May God bless her husband, and Akwa Ibom State.
Thank you so much. It's been nice talking to you at the exhibition booth.
Governor of our dear state, the man who does not take the youth for granted in any way. He believes that youth are the future of this nation. And he puts everything in place to ensure that everything that has to do with the rights of the youth, with the proper functioning of the youth, is put in place. He has ensured that we are gathered here to celebrate who? The youth. I told my people back there at the ministry that I will see them later, that today is the day set aside for the youths of Akwa Ibom State. And I have to be here with them, representing the man who loves them the best, the Honorable Commissioner for the Ministry of Youth and Sports, a man you know so well. After thanking the governor for his fatherly provision, his care, his love, taking the right decision every time it has to do with the youth, I want to thank God Almighty, the Oga at the top who makes everything possible. I thank God for preserving us and ensuring that we live to see the light of today. The SA to the governor on youth has said everything. As I was sitting down, I was wondering what I will add to what he has already said. He's a man well versed with the job he has to do, and he has delivered it very well. He has given you the information that I thought I would give you. His address was very comprehensive. If you listened well to him, I am sure you will have one or two things to take back home. I appreciate you, sir, for your work well done, dear SL. I proceed to deliver an address by the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Youth and Sports, during the 2021 International Youth Day celebration, an event that, a yearly event that takes place every 12th of August. I appreciate you for keeping to the dates and ensuring that the youths gather today. It's 12th of August, is a week-long event, but you have picked the right date and you have stuck to it to celebrate yourself. And that is very, very commendable. It is with utmost pleasure that I join you to mark this year's Youth Day celebration with the energetic, resourceful, and very vibrant youth of Akwa Ibom State. I thank God Almighty for making today possible. The Akwa Ibom youth is among the best breed that God has bestowed upon human societies. This is why we have the peaceful social climate in the states as compared to what we have in other states of the nation. We celebrate you, our dear youths, and we pray that this peaceful society that you have ensured that we have should continue for the benefit of all. The theme of this year's celebration, as you have been told by the SA, is transforming food systems, youth innovations for human and planetary health. Transforming food systems. You know, this is completely in tune with one of the policy thrusts of the administration of our dear governor, the policy thrust of food sufficiency, which has really been dealt with by the SA when he presented his speech. The need for food to be sufficient for everybody. The need for the right food to be consumed. Food sufficiency, ensuring that the right food is consumed by the human race for its health and for the growth of posterity. This theme is very, very, as I have said, in line with the policy thrust of the current administration that we have in the state. And it is in line because of the following reasons. The need to increase food production and ensure food security and sufficiency can never be underestimated. The necessity to inculcate the psychic in our youth not to see farming, agriculture, aquaculture as jobs for old people or jobs for illiterates, school dropouts, but as a platform to earn and generate income, as well as create employment and entrepreneurial systems. Gone are the days when farmers were. But I will explain systems to mean a regularly interacting or independent group of items or systems forming a unified whole, an organized or established procedure. Today we will understand innovation to mean a new idea, a new method or device, the introduction of something new. We all know the meaning of youth. The strong Nigerians, the strong Akwa Ibomites, the people in their prime of life, the period between childhood and complete maturity. The quality of life and state of being of the youth is all we consider when we are talking about the youth. In every decade, food system keeps evolving from the local, primitive, natural, half-cooked food and the preservation of this food from the age of spicy has evolved from the traditional methods to the age of spicy, canned, and preserved food. Our forebears ate almost everything natural and raw food most of the time, consequentially living long and having healthy lives. And most of the times they were devoid of incidences of terminal diseases, which is what characterizes the present dispensation. And our youths have been affected by this trend. A time comes when the world says, no, youth, arise. See what you can do to stop this trend. We now in our time see youths plagued with diabetes, cancer, and even blood pressure. Youths have been called today to gather together and seek ways in which they can make sure that this adverse effect of change does not affect them. The innovation in our food system, though convenient, is doing so much harm, I have said that, than good to the human health and planet. Hence, the need for the youth to bring out evolving food systems which will promote sound human health and food sufficiency. I do not want to take too much of our time. And so I will conclude the address by saying that the youth should be mindful of what they take into their body systems. Whatever goes into the body which does not add nutritional value, does not enhance or sustain growth or repairs, and such food systems should be discarded. In our dispensation, it has become a fad among the youth to reset their bodies and mental systems from the original turning, programming as set by God, our Creator. Anything done in defiance to the Creator has created adverse effects. All of this should be checked for a well-rounded growth, for our youth to have a well-rounded growth as far as food consumption is concerned. I urge on the youth of Akwa Ibom State to desist from the hazardous innovations in their food system. Do not destroy your lives and deprive the states of the versatile manpower which we expect from you. Whatever it is that destroys you, destroys your health, does not ensure that you live as long as your forefathers did, whatever it is that is sweet in the mouth but detrimental to your health, the message is that you should avoid it. The message is also that we put up systems that make sure that we have food sufficiency. Natural food that will replace the food, the canned food, the processed food that tend to harm us. My ministry will continue to collaborate and engage with well-meaning youths to ensure that the Dakada vision of His Excellency, Deacon Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, is actualized. Ladies and gentlemen, great youths of Akwa Ibom State, with utmost pleasure, it is my privilege, on behalf of my commissioner, the Honorable Commissioner of Youth and Sports, to declare the 2021 International Youth Day celebration open. In the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's hear it for the Honorable Commissioner in charge of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. He was here represented by the Permanent Secretary. Very wonderful, excellent and impeccable presentation. Thank you very much, Madam. We're indeed very grateful. And because we said earlier that Akwa Ibom and Akwa Ibomites are very gender sensitive, and because I love women, and women love me, One TV. Okay, so we have a co-MC. I'm very delighted to introduce the very
welcome back. We are still here live at the International Youth Day in Akwa Ibom State, where we have the Akwa Ibom State government, the SSA, Office of the SSA on Youth, on Entrepreneurship, and also the Youth Advocacy Cluster, Youth Alive Foundation, and CASA Africa, celebrating today's International Youth Day, which is themed Transforming Food Systems. And then we're also at the exhibition booth. So I'm just going to go around, show you guys what young people are doing in Akwa Ibom State, as well as their products and how they are actively involved. So please just introduce yourself and your product.
My name is Sudha Bonsai Peter. My company name is Iban Best Nigeria. We are into food processing. We process raw material like cocoa flour, yam flour, plantain flour, periwinkle. We process it to the dry form.
These are periwinkles?
Yeah.
Okay. And what else do you have here?
This one is spices. This is uyaya. This one is mixed spice, combination of uyaya, necro pepper, turmeric, black pepper, and scent leaf.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. You're doing so well. All right. We're going to go to the next table. Here we have crayfish, palm oils displayed here, and I would just like her to introduce herself and her product.
Good morning. My name is Oti Kenjoshua. I'm the CEO of Otis Complete Kitchen. I'm into sales of foodstuffs, and here I have crayfish. I have palm oil fish. Yeah, this is crayfish. This is a custard rubber measurement. That is what we use here in Akwa Ibom, even outside Akwa Ibom. That is the measurement we use, a custard rubber.
What's the measurement?
Custard rubber, a paint rubber. Some call it painter, but here in Akwa Ibom we call it a custard bucket. Yeah, so this is the measurement for it. This fish is called inawa in Akwa Ibom language. It's the catfish. This is not trained, gotten from the seed directly.
And you actually process this?
Yes, we do. Yes, yes.
So thank you so much. Thank you. So here we have some vegetables, and also So we'll go to Sawise Global International. So please, Mark, can you introduce yourself and your products, please? Okay.
You're two different companies.
Yes, you can introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Akani Echuk from MyWise, CEO of MyWise Global International. We have Acha flour and we also have Raji flour.
What are these used for?
They're used for pap and swallow, and they are very good for diabetic challenge and cases of cardio or watching of weight.
You make this yourself?
Yes, my company produces them.
Well done, sir. Thank you so much. Mark, can we meet you and your products?
Hello, good morning. My name is Gloria Ansika Kodosen. I'm the CEO of Venison Concepts Limited. We are the producers of venison foods.
So what do you have here?
We have beans flour. Beans flour can be used for moi moi, can be used for akara, okay? And you can even use it for pancake. And we have the unripe plantain flour.
Which is the amala? The one they call amala?
No, this is not the amala. This is the...
Original honey. So many people are still in doubt of original honey in Uyo, but I'm here to tell you that we still have good and quality honey here in Uyo. So yes, thank you. So please, you guys out there, patronize her. She says she has genuine and original honey for your consumption. Okay, thank you. Good morning. Can we meet you, please?
Good morning. My name is Edidion Eteka. I am the CEO of Eddie Bliss Foods. At Eddie Bliss Foods, we produce and package organic flours from, this is mixed cereal, this is beans powder, this is spices, ginger and garlic, this is garlic powder, we have cinnamon, and we also have healthy beverages.
And so you produce all of this yourself?
Yes, I produce them myself.
Okay, well done. Thank you so much. So we're currently here. Please, can we meet you? And what do you do?
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Blessing Afan. I'm the CEO of ENA Agro Processing Factory. And what we do, we are into the secondary level of adding value to high cultivated, because we always understand that there's always this 40% of farmers' yield go to waste due to unavailability of processing mills and all. So ENA Agro came up with the concept of setting up processing in rural communities to ensure we are close to the farmers and also capture that, tackle the post-harvest loss by adding value. So these are gari, these are one of our maiden products from cassava, and it's 4% moisture content and of exportable quality. So already people have taken our product outside the country to Canada. I want to let you know God knows time for you.
To introduce themselves. So
I'm Harrison Godwin, essay to the governor, project monitoring.
And you are, sir?
My name is Lionel Zefion. I'm the spokesperson of the youth and dean supervisor of Yolo government area.
So I would like to ask you this question. As of course you are a youth yourself, and then you are well alive to see this celebration here today. How do you feel? What's your take on the theme for today? Being transforming food systems, youth engagement and innovation for food sustainability. What is your take on this thing?
Well, first and foremost, let me thank God for this day, because as a young man driven by enterprise, as a young man driven by responsibility, and I'm very privileged by God and the benevolence of His Excellency to be in this very meeting, which is quite epical. What I'm trying to say in the sense that other states are not celebrating it. Maybe just to create awareness that youth should engage in agriculture, one, for food sufficiency, two, food security, three, for income earning. Because today, youth, before today, people used to say, why are we engaging in agriculture? But today we have seen the need. It is very pertinent that today's world is no longer driven by oil and gas. Agriculture, the diversification into agriculture has made it the mainstay of the nation economy. So I am talking, as a policy maker who is also interested in the establishment of farming system in my own community too, because this alone has informed you and all of us. It's a wake-up call that the government cannot do everything. You have to start something for yourself and for your tomorrow.
Okay, coming to you, sir. What can you say is the government of Akwa Ibom State doing differently in today's IYD celebration as compared to the previous years? What is different today?
Okay, to do more, because by the time more of these youth are being taken from the street, we are expecting nothing but peace, and we are going to maintain this peace.
Thank you so much, sir. So it's good to have you. Thank you so much. So we have seen here today, like I earlier said, that the International Youth Day with the theme Transforming Food Systems is being celebrated in Akwa Ibom State by the Akwa Ibom State government through this office of the SSA on Youth, SSA on Entrepreneurship, as well as young development actors such as the Youth Alive Foundation, the Youth Advocacy Cluster, and also CASE Africa. These people have come together to put this program together, and they are saying that young people must be involved, must be engaged in order to bridge the gaps around food sustainability in the country. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. Before I go into the lecture, I need just a minute to say something very critical before I actually forget. One of the most critical challenges of the 21st century youth in Akwa Ibom State is the fact that we don't understand the dynamics and the technical gains we can obtain from mentorship. I did a little thing the other time, and I sampled the opinions of 20 youths. I was so surprised that of the 20 youths, only one of them actually had an identifiable mentor. Somebody is looking up to be like in life. Well, it's a big problem, and I believe that the issue of mentorship should be in the front burner, because if there is no one you actually look forward to be like in the future, then there is no room for motivation. I believe that with time, we'll get to understand better as we proceed on this lecture. So I'd love to say that I'll be speaking on transforming food systems, youth engagement, and innovation for sustainability. Of course, today is the International Youth Day, and I must say this topic is very unique and critical at a time like this. So let me begin with this presentation with defining some key elements of the topic or theme of this program so we can understand better and we can flow in the same frequency. For this presentation, the outline is very simple: introductory notes. At the heels of that, the situational analysis, I'll carefully look at the situational analysis and perhaps let us know exactly what the situation of things is actually in Akwa Ibom State, then move further to outline few key strategies that can actually help the youths to be involved in the process of innovation and also the food system transformation. Conclude the lecture and perhaps make a few recommendations. Please, next slide. So first, let's talk about transformation. When we mention the word transformation, what do we actually mean by transformation? If you can look at that slide, it's a process of change, a change in state. For science students, they understand this better. A change in state, a change in nature, and the way things actually look like. We'll talk a little bit about food systems. Next slide, please. We have to be a little bit fast for want of time. Food system, just like the Honorable Commissioner did explain, is an aggregation of activities including production, processing, transportation, and consumption. The idea basically is that everyone should eat, and food is very essential. So when we talk about food system, it encompasses everything you are seeing on that slide. That has to do, of course, with sustainability, the economics of food production, the policy trust, which is very important. We'll talk about that on the course of the lecture, and the effect of our production process, the food production process, on the environment, which is very significant. Engagement of youths in politics, in food production rather, pardon me, we can say that involving youths in the process of planning and decision making is very key towards transforming food systems, because when the youths of Akwa Ibom State that's within the active age of farming are not directly captured in the process of making critical decisions that will affect their future and affect what they do, it becomes some sort of problem, and we cannot optimize the opportunities that may come true. Innovation has to do with doing things differently and perhaps adding value in the process. Of course, you can see that slide. You have an idea, process, development. You must be inspired. You must be creative. You must have a vision. And you must have the zeal to grow. These are some of the characteristics of innovation. And sustainability is very critical because everything that is happening in this globe today, the focus is on how it can be sustainable to ensure that you preserve the future. Sustainability has to do with the ability to meet our own needs at this material time. While meeting our own needs, we should not necessarily destroy the future for generations coming so that they can also meet their own needs. I tell you, what is obtainable today in 2021 is not exactly what was obtainable in 1970. So it is very critical to note that whatever you are doing, whether in food production, agriculture, or whatever endeavor, the aspect of sustainability is very key, and you must strive to ensure that you do things in manner and a way that will be sustainable, not just for the environment, for the future, and of course the people that will come after us. Can we move to the next slide? I'd love to dwell a little bit on this to explain some dynamics so that we understand how relevant food production is to the globe. That's an aggregation of some data. I'm a data analyst. I do a lot of data analysis. I can't talk without data. If you see the population of the world from 1800 to where we currently are in 2021, you can see that it has increased from 1.5 million at a time, close to 2 billion at a time, to 7.3 billion. And it's very disturbing that countries, developing countries, underdeveloped countries like Nigeria, that we don't have birth control it is very disturbing because I get to imagine what will happen when we get to 2050. If you can see that projection, by 2050, the population of the world would have doubled and we'll have more than 15 billion people by the year 2050. So it shows that if we cannot feed ourselves today, then what hope lies for the future? So it's very critical to state here that more than 800 million of the global population lives below the poverty line. And what the United Nations defines as poverty line today is anyone, any individual who cannot afford $1.25 in a day. $1.25. So close to 10% of the global population cannot afford that. And 3 billion children globally, as at 2020, were malnourished. This is as a result of low production of food and other factors that we will critically look at. 75% of the poor reside in rural communities, and 60 to 80% of the poor population of the globe spend their earnings in food. What does that tell you? That the average man who tries to earn a living spends greater percentage of what he earns in feeding himself and the family. So Nigeria has just drifted past 200 million in terms of population. And just day before yesterday, through the dynamics of Statista, the population of Akwa Ibom has exceeded 5 million. How many of us are aware of that? I was thinking it's still something in the region of 4.5 or 4.8. But I've seen, as a day before yesterday, that we've drifted past 5 million in terms of the number of persons that we have in Akwa Ibom State. Next slide. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, this is very significant. The GDP of some countries, as at the year 2020, I decided to pick 2 of the G7 countries, which is China and the United States, and just played around with some countries that are developing and underdeveloping. I can put India and South Africa in that mix, and then Nigeria, Rwanda, also in the other mix. If you can see very well, in the year 2020, we had a negative growth in terms of our GDP. Rwanda had the same thing, minus 0.2, South Africa 6.96, India minus 7.97. And the G7 countries, despite the fact that the world was ravaged with the dreaded coronavirus, the G7 countries made gains. Why? Because the service sector and the industry contribution from the agricultural sector to the GDP of Nigeria. None of these countries should be close to where we are. But unfortunately, the story is different because we are not adding value to what we are producing. Nigeria is literally a consuming economy. Next slide, please. So I love to narrate a few key facts just to add spice to the presentation. Economies of the world depend on productivity of youths. More than 50% of Nigerians are between the age bracket of 15 to 64. What does that mean? The greater population of that productive sector in Nigeria are youths. And if we are not productive, the Nigerian economy will not grow. So less than 2.5% of Nigerian land mass is utilized for agricultural production. This is so sad. And why is it so? Because we've not deployed technology. We've not done things differently to really analyze and see what we can do that other countries of the world are doing to succeed. And the Land Use Act, I don't even want to talk about that one. It is really impaired mechanization and whatever policy direction anyone is thinking. The COVID-19 pandemic has provided a window for us to think differently and know that food production is the key. Declining food production, climate change, inadequate access to basic amenities, limited government resources are key factors advancing malnutrition. Next slide, please. Sustainable Development Goals. There's no way I would talk about this topic without highlighting in a few seconds the Sustainable Development Goals. Sanitation. 7, affordable and clean energy. 8, decent work and economic growth. 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduced inequality. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. 17, partnership to achieve the goals. I love to clearly summarize that there is no aspect of this targeted 2030 SDG that doesn't have business with food production. Are you going to talk about good health and well-being? You need to eat. Balanced diet. Are you going to talk about gender equality? You need to involve women in the process of agriculture. Are you going to talk about industry, innovation, and infrastructure? Agriculture produces the raw materials for most of the industries in the globe. Are you going to talk about consumption and responsible consumption and production? That also has to do with availability and accessibility of food. Climate action. How are the activities of your food production and agricultural endeavor affecting the climate? All of these are indices. There is no aspect of the SDG that doesn't have business or correlation with food production and the agricultural industry. Next slide. Next slide, please. So, well, in a nutshell, the situational analysis in Akwa Ibom, in food production in Akwa Ibom, is such that we are still practicing, in a way, advanced level of subsistence farming. We have numerous post-harvest challenges, which generally has to do with value addition, poor research funding and collaboration, laudable policies, but limited results. Between creation of this state in 1987 and today, we've had over 20 policy documents and programs. Most of them basically aimed at mechanizing farming. But unfortunately, like I would say, key factors limiting advancement, let me talk about them also. Politics, policy inconsistency, climate change, inadequate technological advancement, rural underdevelopment. Policy is the most difficult of them. When a new administration comes into the fold, not just an Akwa Ibom problem, but even at the Nigerian context, every administration would love to have footprints, would love to leave indelible marks, hence totally abandon whatsoever gains the previous administrations or the administrations before actually made. And this is a major impediment towards sustainable food production. Countries of the world have short, medium, and long-term planning, such that irrespective of whosoever comes on board to man a particular position of authority, there is continuity. And continuity breeds development. Continuity breeds results. I love to, there's a document there. I'll bring it at the heels of this lecture. Please, someone should get that document for me. I like what the State Committee on, there's a document on that. Yeah, bring it. What the State Committee on Food Sufficiency did. And I don't know to what extent this document has been adopted and used in the state. This is an agricultural policy and food sufficiency strategy document developed in 2017. Of course, some of us are aware of this program. This is the way to go. So you will identify your areas of comparative advantage and build development within that line. It becomes, I've asked Professor Ede Tudor how far he has gone about legislation of this. I wish he's here. Because if this passes through some level of legislation, it becomes a continuous policy document of government. You cannot derail from it. This is why China This is why the United States and some other countries of the world are making gains. So we need to advance our discussion in this direction. I thank God the SSA is here, the Honorable Commissioner is here. Please, we'll collaborate with the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Sufficiency to know what has happened to this document. We should not have this sort of meeting again. This can take care of the next 50 years. And we must thank His Excellency the Governor for this vision. Next slide, please. So I'd love to highlight some of the gains we've made under the Governor Udom Emmanuel administration since 2015. What you see there is an aspect of the St. Gabriel's Coconut Refinery. Of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but move to the next slide. Okay, this is very key. St. Gabriel Coconut Refinery, challenges and opportunities for youths. Challenges and opportunities for youth. Now, the management of St. Gabriel's Coconut Refinery, if not months, weeks ago, expressed a very genuine concern that they've gone to an advanced stage of production, of finishing the factory for production to start. But they expressed a very deep concern, and that was raw materials. Over 11,000 hectares combined Eastern Obolo, Mkparenin, and Ona, Ikorabasi rather, combined 11,000 hectares of coconut plantation. But they've discovered that in spite of this, what will be produced from there will not be enough for a turnaround production in specific time. That's a huge challenge. And I looked at that statement from him, and I was able to capture what can inspire youths of Akwa Ibom State to think differently. Indonesia utilized 3.5 million hectares of its landmass to grow coconut in the year 2019. And they realized a turnover of 18.0 million metric tons. In Nigeria, shockingly, just a little over 600,000 hectares of the entire landmass of this country has been deployed for planting of coconut. Yet, what is available cannot. Do you know we import coconut from Cameroon and some other places? It's not even enough to feed the local population, talk less of a viable industry of this nature. Again, Lagos State dominate the coconut production factory because basically a lot of people eat coconut in Lagos and they use it for industries, for the production of coconut oil, virgin oil, and the rest of them. We must commend His Excellency for this vision in bringing the coconut refinery. The current price of coconut oil in the global market is 5 times the price of crude oil. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. The current price of refined coconut oil in the global market is 5 times the price of crude oil. So you should know what that means. So, are we ready as youths of Akwa Ibom, individually and collectively, to grow coconut, to cultivate coconut, to produce coconut? There is a ready market. Do you know what 1 million metric ton means for a turnaround production? Please, seize the moment. Plant coconut in any available space. There is a ready market, and we must thank His Excellency. This is the next oil in Akwa Ibom State. The next slide. So this is still one of them, the King's Flour Mill. Of course, some of us are aware of this. This is innovative and very nice. The Ibom Agrigon Rice Project. I've been here a few times. And also the vegetable greenhouse somewhere at the airport. These are some of the achievements of His Excellency, not limited to the cassava processing facilities, the Akwa Ibom hatchery, the revitalization of the aqua palm industry, training and retraining, and of course, several others. Next slide. I've already talked about this. The quest for greener pastures has forced most youths of Akwa Ibom to migrate from the rural area in particular. By the year 2030, most industries, companies will not be employing people based on certificates again. So you must be able to identify a need within your community that you can add value and make reasonable gains. Research, linkages, and collaboration. Well, one of the bane of underdevelopment in Africa is our inability to fund research. Between 1970 and 80, China, you are hearing today, and Dubai, they were underdeveloped countries in the 70s and 80s. But what gave them an edge was their ability to invest in research, identify critical problems within their environment, the ones they could solve within, they deploy resources, and the ones they could not, they sent out their youths to US, UK, Canada, some other countries to gain knowledge. They pay for them to gain knowledge. What they paid in the 70s and 80s is what has kept China where they are today. Because these gentlemen and ladies have returned to China to harness what they have been taught to the local economy. That is exactly why China is where they are. It's not rocket science. I like what the governor has done recently. I've seen quite a number of trainings, and it's commendable. But there's something about Victor Ota did, and I tell you in just a minute, we wouldn't have had Akwa Ibom State University today, fully optimized and functional. I'm a part of it. But 70% of the workforce were trained outside the country. In the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering alone, we have 10 PhD holders who were trained during the Obong Ota administration between 2003 and 2008. So we need to continually strengthen programs of this nature to give our people the capacity and the opportunities they need. The 21st century is so competitive. What you know locally in Uyo may not be enough to put you out there. SSA, there is need for targeted training in key areas that are applicable in the 21st century. So as a matter of policy, the government should look in that direction. It should not just be training. I like what I saw the other day. The Metallurgy Training Institute in Onitsha. Some of us don't even know that place. Most of the industry experts we have today in ExxonMobil, Shell, and the rest of them, I know a few of them who were trained there. It is practical training. Oxy-acetylene welding, argon welding, and the rest of them. It is trained. It's an expert skill. If you know such a thing, you can never be poor. So we need to change the narrative. Please, very significant. We must advise the government to fund training, research, to empower our people, to position the youth better. The 21st century is very competitive, and we cannot lag behind. So, funding and development, I've talked about that. Intellectual property development. I hate these stories when a youth will come and say, they've stolen my idea. Nobody stole your idea. Just that you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. For your local people, when I do my research, research me. I don't bring it out. It is never on paper, because that is my bullet punch. So, the Akwa Ibom youth must identify the need for intellectual property development. It is what is driving the 21st century. Even in the area of food production, we must identify that technological advancement is very key. I wish Jones is here. I've not seen him. I wish he's here. Jones in 2015 approached me that he wants to go into development of drones for agriculture. I told him it's very difficult. And he told me I would just try something. But today, Jones and some of his colleagues from the University of Uyo, they've made reasonable gains. They've even designed an irrigation system using drones that can spray pesticides and other things in farms. That is the way to go. That is the new normal. So you must be able to identify a need within your local community to be able to make gains. Policy and enabling environment, I've talked about this. We have a lot of policy inconsistencies, and it's not helping us as a people. We need to be focused. What I've shown you here as a short-term goal, medium-term goal, and long-term goal. That is how the world is developed today. So, we should be able to harness policies, and I believe by the special grace of God, we will achieve some of these things together in the coming years. Rural development, I've talked about that. Lastly, attitudinal change. Every youth wants to get rich quickly. You set very unrealistic targets for yourselves. It is the bane of youth restiveness. It enhances cultism. It enhances crime. It enhances rape. Because you want to be like the next person. Do you know what that person has put? How many years of service he has put to arrive at where he is? I see myself as a motivation to myself and some people. I always said I wanted to be a professor at the age of 40. That's achievable. Because the target was to get my PhD before I'm 30. I knew I had a direction by the time I was already 15, 16. And what helped me, I talked about that earlier, mentorship. I ran into the hands of a professor who grinded me, molded me, turned me, brushed me, put me aside, drew me back, reconstructed me. And whatever I'm able to achieve today, aside God and my immediate family, I owe it to him because he showed me the way. And that's some of the things we are doing. I have a young man here. I went to his into fabrication of machines, cassava and the rest of them. I saw what he did as at 2013, but there were lacunas. I asked him to come and get some level of education in AXU. He came. You know what motivated him to come? In 2014 January, he coordinated a program for training of youths in Brazil. The link person knew him, and he was responsible for almost 50 of youths across the country that were to go for that program in Brazil. But out of the 50, 49 went. It was the only person that was dropped. Education. The resource persons and the Brazilians said, we don't speak English. And if you've not attended this level of education, at least to obtain a diploma, how sure are we that you can interpret even what we are going to, the interpreter is going to say? They dropped him. That motivated him to come to me. I've been begging him since 2013. By 2014, when he was disappointed in Abuja, he came back and told me, sir, please, I want to go to school. I told him, don't be scared. Joshua, are you here? I asked him to come. Joshua Solomon. Engineer Joshua Solomon. I think he has stepped out. Just step forward. I want to motivate. I want to use him as a source of motivation. The young man you've seen here has started his master's degree program. And I tell you what, some of the jobs they used to deny him, some of the jobs they used to deny him, he is now consulting for them. Education is key. Go back. So, you must be able to add value to yourself. Otherwise, you will be floating. There are several of them. What we also try to do at AXU is to mentor these students. It's beyond just teaching them. To enable them exert that inner potential to grow and be better individuals in the future. Next slide, please. As we round off, conclusion and recommendations. So in concluding, Akwa Ibom youths are industrious and enterprising. There is need to create an enabling environment to enable them create wealth and explore the food industry. Youth should also understand the changing dynamics of the 21st century anchored on innovation and technology for sustainability and also the need to develop capacity. COVID-19 pandemic has provided a nexus for us to recalibrate our minds and know that food is significant in today's world. Akwa Ibom youths should note the next set of billionaires in the globe may emerge from the food industry, not from the oil and gas industry, and we should not be left behind. We should devise means to engage and transform food systems through innovative ideas that will engender sustainability and increased productivity as we get towards achieving the first two goals of the Sustainable Development Goals, which is no poverty and zero hunger. Recommendations as a wrap-up. In recommending, I've highlighted some of these recommendations here. There is need. I've heard something about the microfinance bank for youths or farmers. That is absolutely necessary. And again, we will not just put that bank in place. We need to conduct viable feasibilities on what we can do in areas of comparative advantage, so we can identify those gaps and deploy our youth to go there, assess the funds, and solve problems for the society. There's a connection in between that. I've recommended that in part of this document. And also, the 3,000 jobs I've heard about, it still goes in that direction. It must be targeted at critical issues undermining development in the food industry in Akwa Ibom State. Development of clusters and aggregation points for farmers in at least 2 locations per local government area to deepen supply of food and enhance business opportunities. The clustering of production in agriculture cannot be overemphasized. Basic reasons. In Kano State, years ago, I don't know if that's still obtainable, I was there for a research program. The government of Kano State take agricultural produce at a rate that will keep you in business. So nobody comes to your farm because he knows you. I want to buy your tomato, and he just mentioned any price. No, there is a standard price. Whether that tomato is semi-good, good or bad, the government takes that. And that encourages you to stay in business. Nobody wants to make loss at the end of the day. You must make gain when you are in business. So off-taking is very critical. And adequate funding, I've talked about that. Again, we need to step down programs of agriculture at the federal level in the state. I didn't like one politics that happened the other time in the issue regarding the Anchor Borrower scheme. It wasn't healthy. We should discourage that as a people. So there is need for us, whatever program that is happening at the federal level. Let me tell us exactly this. Poverty knows no political party or religion. So whatever that's happening in the in other states of the federation, whether it is PDP or APC, but anchored by the federal government, please, Akwa Ibom youths should key in. It is our money. Promotion of collaboration between ministries, departments, and agencies of government that are directly linked to food production to ensure quality control. Development of rural communities to limit urban and rural drift, domestication of the state policy, I've already talked about that, involvement of youths, and by way of local content in the planning and development of programs that will accelerate food production through implementation, and signing into law of the Akwa Ibom State Youth Development Fund Bill. Please, that should top the communique of this meeting. That should be the number one point on the communique of this meeting that will be sent to His Excellency. Because all the drivers and enablers queue behind this. There's an aspect that clearly talks about agricultural development, and without such a law in place, you cannot access funds. There can be no appropriation. I don't know if you understand this. So when we say the governor should sign this, it is not about politics. It is about creating that enabling environment and appropriating funds so that you can access to develop yourself and your business. We should discourage deforestation and promote planting of trees to promote healthy and sustainable environment for agribusiness. Then lastly, I need to say this. Data is very relevant to planning and development. One of the most critical challenges we have as a nation and as a state is unavailability of data and inconsistency. And we need, as a people, if you're a data analyst, you're a statistician, you are wasting away. You have billions somewhere waiting for you. All that is needed is to explore an area that we need data. There's no data. Some of those data I showed you earlier, it is people from the US and the rest that are developing it for us using demographics, and it's wrong. So they are not real time. We need to develop our data bank. And if you're a statistician here, please consult me at the end of this lecture. I have something for you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Do have a wonderful time.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's hear it for Promise Etim PhD. Excellent presentation, very wonderful presentation, Dr. Promise Etim.
Amazing presentation there, particularly how practical he took us through his presentation. And I remember you just talking about how lovely his slides were.
Of course.
And I said something very key, that I'm not surprised, because when it comes to Dr. Promise Etim, he's very thorough. So please put your hands together for this fantastic presenter this afternoon. And for me, what's very key as well, when he talked about the next set of billionaires will be coming from the agricultural sector. I hope you don't want to be left behind, because for me, I do not want to be left behind. The time has gone when we had so much focus on oil, crude oil. Now it's time to diversify, and that is what I said earlier, that the theme for this year's International Youth Day is just so apt, talking about food systems and how we can develop our cultural systems and see how we can make more revenue, get more revenue from this aspect. And then also very key is the part where he talked about the price of crude coconut oil, refined oil in the global market. When
5 times the price of crude oil.
Yes, of crude oil. And we pay so much attention, give so much focus to crude oil, but then we are missing out on coconut refined.
Once you harvest, you know you can make it within 3 months. Then the carrot. Now, let me finish with cucumber. Cucumber, wait, I'm coming. Cucumber only lasted, we planted direct seeds. This one is nursery, this one is nursery, this one is nursery, tomatoes is nursery, cabbage is nursery. All these things you see in this table, they are from my farm. You look at it, do drive tractors too. If you want someone that can drive tractor in their farm, you contact me. Then
20 times and 2 hours later, still talking.
But then, as much as...
No, but when you have good content, I mean, you can't help it. When you have good content, you can't help it.
Definitely, but then...
You can do Mando coming to the state with Dakada philosophy. That really encouraged me. So, wow, Dakada. When I look at it, Dakada, I now think that I can expand it to many levels. That is the reason I go into the three-month varieties. All my products will not pass 3 months. It's something you can bring your million. Within 3 months, you get their training. I do plant 3 times a year. Like now, they're harvesting cucumber, harvesting carrots, harvesting watermelon, tomatoes, cabbage. You can see if you just use your hand within 3 months, even if you collected loan and put within 3 months, you pay, you have a lot of interest. So there is money in farming. It's not all about cassava alone. Go into these vegetables. With vegetables, you go places, you have your money. You'll be able to stand by your own. As I'm standing now, I train my family, I train my sister, I train my sibling. None of us is...
Build the youths. Build the youths. Them say na youths the ginger. Na youths they hustle. Youths they shake ground. Youths they make things happen. But it's time for youths to lead. Because we cannot move forward when we keep carrying the old. And it is written, all things are passed away. Youths are the new. See, there is no development without the youths. See, if our Akwa Ibom be like trees, now we be the fruits, you're not fruitful without the youths. See, if our Akwa Ibom be like Ibom air, now we be the sky, you cannot fly without the youths. See, if our Akwa Ibom be like house, now we be the foundation, you cannot build without the strength of the youth. See, if our Akwa Ibom be like afang soup, now we be the fufu, mfi, and palm wine to go with it. There is no sweet satisfaction without the youth. And I know say country hard. These days, things don't change. Person will carry money, go market, so they carry change, come back. But we have the Dakada spirit, so we rise. From Plaza, see the youths building.
At the exhibition booth of these International Youth Day 2021 celebrations in Akwa Ibom State. I'm so delighted with what I've seen here. It shows that so far the youth of Akwa Ibom State are keying into the vision of Governor Udom Emmanuel in ensuring that about 80% of what we have as staple food in our state is produced well within the shores of our dear state of Akwa Ibom. I've seen where women have gone in, young people have gone into vegetable production. I've seen where our young people have gone into cassava processing, making it to come out in very, very exciting and crunchy flakes that will be very interesting to zip, you know, and also good in terms of preservation. And then we've seen all of these other produce, the tiger nut, zobo, and every other food commodity. And over there we have legumes produced in our state. Yes, it's tomatoes, cucumber, water leaf, egg. So poultry farm is also here, pepper, and all of that. So far we are very happy because our young people are no longer sitting down and depending on what the state can do for them. They are now becoming self-sustaining and they are also becoming vibrant. And that is why we thank God for the theme of this year's celebration, which is actually on transforming the food systems. And here we are having some lectures and we're also having physical attestations to the fact that food in Akwa Ibom State is no longer going to be scarce. Our people are going to have access to food. And so whether we have lockdown or lock up or lock around, Akwa Ibom State will not be badly hit by any factor, be it environmental, health, or otherwise. So far we must thank God for the kind of governor who is a visionary, who has planned for the future in the state, and of course the kind of youth we have in Akwa Ibom State. Like we have here the senior
man or small, hunger they catch everybody. So let's build our agricultural systems and transform our food systems, beginning with the youths. Thank you.
Ibom State, and I must use this medium to say a very big thank you to His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, because what I'm seeing today has never happened before in the history of this state, at least with the Dakada initiative by His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, the youth of Akwa Ibom State, Dakada, even over mine, but that's why you can say, would another senior Mabu. Wonderful combination with this. We get things that will not bring development to the state. Rather, this will be able to get to where we're supposed to get to. So we thank God. And let me also say a very big thank you to the leadership of the youth of Akwa Ibom State, the Senior Special Assistant, His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State on youth matters, Iwan Udofia, in terms of transparency, in terms of accessibility, in terms of humility, in terms of generosity.
Time for me to say, you see, in our mindset, like our doctor, the keynote speaker has said, we are beginning to do things differently. You would agree with me that in our 7 years as youth leadership in the States, this is the most beautiful International Youth Day that we have ever had. This is a paradigm shift. It wouldn't have been this beautiful without these great personalities that we have, very intelligent youths that we have under the aegis of youth advocacy clusters. Permit me to quickly just recognize these persons who have met and put these events very, very successfully. I want to call on the Secretary of the Planning Committee. Please, Kingsley Atang, please just run up. I want to call Gideon Ndifreke. I want to call Joe, my friend Onyeka.
To show that we are ready to lead this country by making food available and by getting involved.
Thank you very much. And Reverend Richard Peters, they used to say youths are the future or are leaders of tomorrow. But the kind of youths that we have in Akwa Ibom State appear they are already leaders of today.
It is because of the governor. The governor has taken the future, the youth, to the future that they desire. Not just by words, but by action. In several times through the Ministry of Agriculture, we've seen how that ministry has released seedlings to farmers, and majority of these farmers are youths.
These persons
so you see that the governor
are
has
certified
taken
by the United Nations, by USAID. They are perfect, intelligent Akwa Ibom children. Perfect. Please, let's put our hands together for them. Thank you very much for what you have done. God will bless you people and take you people to a greater height. God bless you. Thank you.
Youth cannot go indulge themselves in any abnormal behaviors. Let the youth be productive. The governor who has made the youth to be productive. So we have seen the result of what the governor has injected into the youth by not just saying it, but by giving it and by providing soft loans and grants to youth to engage. So even before now, we have seen so many youth who have been, about 3,000 youth who are undergoing training. And some of them have, traveled out of the country to learn one skill or the other. This is the essence of leadership. And this is what leadership is all about. By carrying the people along, especially those people who are very critical. The youth form part of the very critical population in every society. So the governor has done so well. And I want to congratulate the governor for giving the power back to the youth and the leadership of the youth headed by Iwan Udofia.
Okay, and so from the exhibition booths of the 2021 International Youth Day celebration here in Ibom Hall, Akwa Ibom State, I have been Essien Ndweso reporting live and returning you back to the main hall for other activities of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'd like to introduce, please put your hands together for Mrs. Ofonime Joshua Eshiet. Put your hands together for her as she comes forward for the health talk. Thank you.
The way you're clapping, I'm not sure she's very happy with that. Can we make this applause
you can do better.
bigger and better?
Right.
Of Akwa Ibom State, good afternoon. Feel so glad to be a part of this year's youth celebration. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful to be in your midst this afternoon And in few minutes, we'll be talking about a very familiar infection that is rampaging the world by name COVID-19. Let me recognize the governor in absentia, here represented by the Senior Special Assistant to him on youth. I salute your prowess and your strength. I can see the men, the thick men and women you've gathered to celebrate the youth. The youth, I celebrate you today on behalf of the CMD of University of Uyo Teaching Hospital and the head of department, Nursing Services. My name is Ofonime Joshua Esiet, as introduced, and in a few minutes we'll be talking about a very familiar infection, COVID-19. I said that, but before we go in depth into that, permit me to dissect or permit us to discover together the hidden strengths in the word, the 5-letter word, youth. Y-O-U-T-H. Now, the Y there stands for young. If you look around the hall, I'm sure you won't see an elder in our midst. If you do, that means the elder is young at heart. All right? The O there stands for outgoing. Every youth is outgoing. Tell them we are moving down to Lagos, and you will be shocked that the bus outside will be filled in no second. Tell them we are gathering down at Government House, and in no time they'll be there. This is a typical trait of the youth. And then the youth there stands for unlimited. I am sure we are locked in here in this auditorium, but we are able to peep outside or towards the gate. I'm sure you will see a whole lot of youth hanging around. You can't just stop them. It's a typical trait of a youth. Now, the 4th letter there is the T. They are truthful. They are truthful. They can look at you in the eye, irrespective of your qualifications, irrespective of your social strata, and tell you face to face to your eyes and say, man, this is white and this is black. Unfortunately, this is the typical trait that is giving us problem, because the people on the other side will say they are insultive. All right, now the last letter there, the H, stands for humility. They are actually humble. If they were not, you won't find them seated here to celebrate this year's youth celebration. Let's put our hands together for ourselves and we celebrate alongside other nations. Thank you very much. All right, straight to what we are talking about. It's a very familiar topic. So I won't really go in depth into it, but I want to remind us of what we know already. I was so glad when the keynote speaker repeatedly mentioned COVID-19 pandemic, and we were so comfortable with it, which means we know what it is. Now, in brief, let us be reminded that COVID-19 is very real. COVID-19 is very real and is amongst us. It's a deadly disease that affects mostly the respiratory tract, causing respiratory symptoms caused by a strand of virus called the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. In short, you can call it SARS-CoV-2, but not the SARS that has just been ended. Okay, it's a different SARS. All right, this actually was first detected in Wuhan, China, which we all know, but it was declared pandemic in January 2020 by WHO. Pandemic means that you can find it everywhere in the world. And I'm telling you that it is still ravaging. You can see it everywhere. It is still multiplying, affecting so many people. And to make it worse, the new strand of it just came out lately, towards the end of last year, but a name was given to it by WHO on the 31st of May 2021, few months ago. And I tell us for real that it is highly contagious. The MC said that, and I was glad with that. It is different from the usual COVID-19 that we've been playing with, okay? And when it attacks the young people, the outcome is deadly. And let me also say here that it affects mostly the people that were not vaccinated. If you did not give in yourself for the just concluded round, the first round, that means if it should come to you, it will be quite disastrous. But I know with the principles, with the processes we are going to discuss on how we can keep it away from us, we will be safe. Now, one can ask, how can we contact it? It is very easy, just through two routes. You can either get it from human to human. If I'm talking or sneezing or coughing and I'm standing very close to you, it is possible that something will come out from my mouth. And that thing we call is droplets. It's actually heavy. Some can rest on the table. Some can drop on the floor. If you're standing very close to me and unfortunately it comes out of my mouth, gets into the mucous lining of your eyes, the nose, the mouth, which are actually the susceptible mucosa. What I mean by that is that not until it gets into these three organs, it can't gain entrance into your body. So if you're standing very close and I speak and it comes straight to you, it comes in contact with those organs, that means you can have it. That's one way of having it, and we call that direct route of transmission. Now you can also get it indirectly. Remember I said some can fall on the table, some on the floor. Now the ones on the table, it's possible that you can put your hand on the table at home or in your office or anywhere. And if the virus is on that table, you can pick it with your hands. If you don't wash your hands immediately, or for some reason you've not been able to wash your hands, and you take those hands to touch the eyes, the nose, or the mouth, you can also get it, and that is indirect way of getting it, all right? Some can also drop on the floor. Remember I said it's very heavy. And after a few minutes, it turns to what we call aerosol. It becomes smaller, and it's possible that breeze, through the turning of the fan, can pick it up, send it circulates, and in the process of your inhaling, you can get it through that. So these are the only possible ways you can get in contact with the virus. Most importantly, at this point, let us talk about the preventive measures. If this virus is this deadly, this virulent, and we've not been able to discover a cure for it yet, I think the best bet is for us to see how we can prevent the transmission. We have to see how we can stop it from getting to us. And how do we do it? For the sake of this presentation, I came up with an acronym that is very easy for you to gather youths and people around you in your different senatorial districts and see how you can re-educate them on this. I came up with what I call one cup kush. Please, if you have a Bible with you, I want to encourage you to put it down. It may sound funny, it doesn't have any meaning, but I'm sure it sounds like Japanese language, is it not so? Or Chinese language. Yes, it can, because actually it came from China. So they also have the solution. The word is one hyphenated called kush, C-U-G. All right, let us look at what it means. The whole essence of prevention is embedded in this word. The W there stands for the fact that you need to wash your hands with soap regularly under running water. Where water is not available, please, you can use alcohol-based sanitizer. It is very, very effective. But let us also understand that sanitizer do not take the place of water. Whenever you get close to water, do well to wash your hands. Remember I said the virus can stay on the palm. As much as possible, we should try to avoid touching our eyes, our nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. We have no business to go into the mucous lining of the eye. If anything should get into your eyes, you can use a clean kerchief to do that. And also, let's try to avoid close contacts to anyone with respiratory diseases. If there's anyone that is coughing around you, if there's anyone that is sneezing around you, don't get close telling him or her, bless you, because the person is blessing you back with the virus. So you stay afar, all right? If you notice anyone that is coughing or sneezing repeatedly, you need to move 2 meters away from the person. Consciously move 2 meters away from the fellow. The length of my hand represents 1 meter. So if I double it, that's 2 meters. You don't need a rule to take it. Just see how you can advance, okay? All right. Now, as much as possible, if you're coughing, cough into a tissue paper and discard of it properly. If you don't have any tissue paper with you, you can cough into your elbow. And also, as a means of preventing the spread of this deadly virus, let's try to obey every national, state, and local directives regarding gathering and crowd. For areas where lockdown is being declared, I want to encourage us, try to stay at home. But when you're staying at home, it's for isolation. Can remember that the keynote speaker said that our population is not controlled. Okay, we've gone above 5 million, and I'm a living witness to that. Recently, we've got to realize in my department that many women that come to register for antenatal, their last menstrual period actually fall between the lockdown, which means the lockdown, something else was going on. And that has affected the population. So please, if we say, stay at home, please stay at home, all right? And try to maintain social distancing, okay? Thank you. Now, as a way of still preventing and containing the spread, do not congregate, do not go to church, do not mingle with people when you know you have respiratory symptoms. If you know that all of a sudden you're sneezing and coughing seriously, or even fever, because you don't know what it is, please stay back at home and do your prayers. Leave the crowd and the gathering at that moment. Also try to protect even your family members. There's nothing wrong in, being able to confine yourself in a particular section of the house. It's the same house. You're trying to prevent the rest from getting infected. All right. We should also, as a way of preventing the spread, clean surfaces. Every surfaces that we know we touch frequently, could be tables in your office, your working environment in the house. Do well to clean them, including the doorknobs and the fan regulators. Anywhere that you know that you touch frequently or anyone else can touch, do well to clean them with water and soap or mild disinfectant. It will take away the virus. And as much as possible, we should try to use our face masks properly. We should wear it snugly to cover both the nose and the mouth. The face mask has no business in your pocket. It is only money that should be in the pocket. The face mask has no business to be under of your chin. You'll be doing yourself so much harm if you hang it behind, below your chin. It is better not to even put it on at all. If you look at the face of the mask, it's like a filter, okay? So it can actually trap a whole lot of things hanging there, and for some reason, you need to take it back to your nose. That means you are assisting the virus to gain entrance into your system. And also, we should not wear it around our wrist. It's not a wristwatch, because most important, if you go outside, you see that's what a lot of youths are doing, which is not too good. That's why I've taken time to give us the acronym that will help us to be able to teach the rest. We are like messengers of health, but we cannot go to everywhere. I've been able to come in here and share this with us. I want us to go back and gather some youth around us and see how they can get this information. And lastly, as a way of preventing the spread, please let's get vaccinated. Let's get vaccinated and tested. We've ended the first round of the vaccination. It came with a whole lot of stories and all of that. But I'm sure by now you're relaxed. I'm sure by now every one of us is relaxed. The fears are gone. The people we vaccinated are still alive. And I want to tell us that we are rolling up the next round of COVID-19 vaccination. Please avail yourself of this great opportunity. Let me say here that the Delta variant, it's so severe. It's not sparing anyone, and when it comes, it's more disastrous, and it affects people that have not been vaccinated. So please, from the 16th of August, which of the centers that will be close to you, walk in and then take a shot of it. At the same time, let's get tested. Luckily for us, the governor of Akwa Ibom State has made it so encouraging. We have so many testing centers in the states. On working days from Monday to Friday, you can drive to General Hospital Itumbang. The people are always there, the scientists are always there to take some sample and then conduct the test. If that is far, you can drive to University of Uyo Teaching Hospital. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, the testings are done. But let us know that even when your status is declared and it's negative, you shouldn't think that you're entirely free from it. Because it's possible that the virus is in there in the lungs. Not until you come down with symptoms, it cannot be dictated in the sample that is taken for the test. So you still need to continue with all of these processes that I've put across. In conclusion, I want to say here that this whole exercise is put up to encourage us to see how we can contend with the spread of the virus. I want to appreciate the leadership and the governance of Akwa Ibom State under the able leadership of Governor Dom
we're
Emmanuel.
Still here live at the International Youth Day here in Akwa Ibom State, and I have some very outstanding young people who have demonstrated significant performance in the agricultural sector, and they've also been able to play their part as regards to transforming the food systems here in Akwa Ibom State and beyond. So I'll be talking to some of, we have also decided to actually recognize these ones, and they will be presented awards here at the celebration, and I would like for us to meet with them, and then they explain themselves. So I'll meet you. Thank you for being here. So can we meet you and what you do and how you feel about your award today?
Actually, my name is Mr. Anebe Dantia, the MD CEO of Antias Farm. In Antias Farm, I'm into crop cultivation. But first of all, I'm so glad to might have received a call that I will receive an award in this occasion, being International Youth Day. So I'm so excited because this is ever since I started farming into commercial farming, this is my first time of receiving an award. Yeah. So I'm so glad to be in this event today.
Yeah. So how do you feel about your award today? How do you feel being recognized for the work that you do?
I think it's a very big surprise, and also if you feel men of destiny, if I may put it that way, I'm excited to be recognized by the international United Nations and the people of Akwa Ibom State. I'm so glad to be an awardee today.
Yeah, all right. And then what is your advice as someone who is actively involved already? What is your advice to young people out there? I
would say that first of all, my advice would go to the government first. The poor people cannot achieve food sufficiency. Farming is not for the poor, it's for the rich. If you are telling me that a poor person can achieve food sufficiency, look at our parents that have been farming in our communities. Have they been able to make it? How many houses have they been able to build or impact lives? Commercial farming is for the rich. If you want to cultivate, for example, 1 hectare of tomato farm, you need nothing less than 2-3 million naira to do a mulching, drip irrigation, drill a borehole, set up the entire farm. So if the government is telling the youth to go into agriculture, the government should also make adequate funding. Funding in terms that you can give us interest-free loan, even the loan with a very moderate percentage, you can pay back, let me say 5% per year. We are able to do that. But if you are telling the youth to go into agriculture, then you have not made any funding available. How are we going to achieve that? So I also encourage the youth to go into agriculture. At the same time, the government should also make available proper funding channel and also ready market for this good. If you go to the Canada, the keynote speaker have said, they are coming of take their products. Yeah. most of my products I don't sell in Akwa Ibom State. I take them to Abia State to go and sell. Why? Because there's no ready market in Akwa Ibom State. And some people in Akwa Ibom State will leave Akwa Ibom State to Abia State to go and buy them and bring them back to Akwa Ibom State. So government should make adequate funding channel and make the market that if we produce today, they are ready to offtake our goods.
Make it accessible.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So you've heard from our awardee. He has said there are a lot of challenges out there. The young people have a role to play as well as the state government. So thank you so much.
So get that for yourself. Is that how you celebrate your youthfulness? Wonderful one. Thank you very much. I want us to appreciate these two young men that have been doing a wonderful job. Let's put our hands together for them. Yes, the deaf and dumb interpreters. Yeah, you're doing well. You're doing well. Clap for yourself. And they do you wanka, 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 wanka. Yeah, they are trying. Can you interpret foreign language? Foreign language. Okay, tell them what I just said. Livu ozudwa. Sete mekro o youth week.
Young entrepreneur.
So what is your sector? What area of agriculture are you into?
Yeah, I'm mainly into rice farming.
Rice farming
and palm oil processing.
Wow. So that you've been doing that for how long now?
I think it's up to 4 years. It's up to 4 years. Yeah.
So how do you feel basically about the award you're receiving today? What is the impact it's going to have on your business?
It is a great advantage. I think with this award, I will be able to acquire some space of farmland for my rice plantation. Okay. I think this will go a long way.
Yeah, so you're basically going to probably this will attract funders to you. Is that what you're saying? Are you going to get possible maybe funding assistance as a result of this?
Yeah, and I use this medium to also solicit for partnership.
Okay.
Yeah, down there in the local government area, I think we have a challenge of pest control, I think, in our farm, I think, and also water, because we have a lot of, kind of swamp during this rainy season. I think currently I have cultivated over just 50 plots of land, rice, currently.
Yeah, so
but this is just...
And are you doing this all by yourself, or you probably have like an employee base?
Yeah.
You have people working with you?
Yes, I contracted people like 50 to 100 persons.
It's great. You're doing a great work. I must commend you. So thank you so much for being here today. So we'll call on our next awardee to join us. Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Let's put our hands together for him. Before now, events like this, you only see talk. But I know from here now, I'm going to pay my rent and my son's school fee. You did well, sir. They told me I'm to perform for just 15 minutes. I told them that my conscience will blame me. The kind of money you gave me, I'm supposed to perform for 24 hours. That's even if you go your house, I go the crack joke for you. I go to perform. You get some kind of money when they go pay you. Your conscience go they blame you, say you don't deliver well. So you need to do more. Just like when I was called from Abuja. Are you General there? I say yes. Can you come over to Abuja for a wedding? I say yes. How much do you collect? I mistakenly say 450,000. The man comes and say, is that all you will collect? I say no, plus logistic. Everything will enter 700. He says, is that your last? I say, it depends on your last, but 1 million will do everything. The one comes and say, send me your account number. I send account number. I receive advance of 750. I can't call the man. So when is this wedding? He said in 3 months' time. The next day I was in Abuja. Now me the Abuja 3 months before the wedding. They follow the man up. What can I do for you, sir? So do you want to wash your car? Do you want to clean your house? I'm a driver. I can drive you for 3 months. The day of the wedding, I see where boxer, they do decoration. I have to make sure I deliver so that the team will work. Are you understanding me? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is General Ode, comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Speaker of the Comedy House of Assembly, Commanding Officer of the 419 Battalion of Ibawa Branch, and the GOC Commanding 229 Crocodile Dance Rehearsal of Udodoma. I've ever a clap for me now. You think it's easy? It's not easy to have this title. This title is very, very, very important, very necessary. And that is why I'm telling youths of these days, follow this way they talk. See, this topic of this year is the best. Transforming food system is the best. And I will just do my keynote address for 5 minutes, then I'll crack joke for 5 minutes. Let's put our hands together for Promise. Let's celebrate Dr. Promise. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, you did a wonderful job. Sir, do you know I'm your colleague? I'm also a doctor, native doctor. We are all doctors. You know, let me just divide this word here, transform. I believe that by the end of this meeting, we are going to understand 3 important things. One is this meeting will help you transform your mind from ICT and other things. You know, you have to divide your creative ingenuity to things of different things that have to do with agriculture. That is by the end of today's meeting. Some of you go into snake farming. Some of you go into lion farming. Some of you go into crocodile manufacturing and cockroach exportation. You know what we mean by that? So we are looking to a future where Chinese will meet us as highest importers of cockroach, so that they will know that we are very agricultural, very, very intensive. I'm telling you, they need cockroach. My friend from China called me last week, said the cockroach, they are finished. They need cockroach. So if you see cockroach, don't waste it. That is $2.2. That's that. 2.2. That cockroach where they run like that. Now money they run like that. Gather it and call me. We'll help export it. So that's the first thing that it will do. The second thing is going to transform your mind from, food selection. So that if you are not paying for food, you will not select food. You understand what I mean by that? It will
I felt a
transform your
sense
mind
of
from what?
fulfillment. Not necessarily the money. Even if it was to be 5 naira, that Akwa Ibom State government is recognizing my work. Sometimes, especially in this year, I've had reasons to go to the farm. And like while I'm in the farm, I'm like, God. Praying that this thing will yield results. Quoting scriptures and then trusting God and expecting. Do you know when I received that message this morning? Even if I'm not saying I don't want to get healed again from the farm, but this recognition again makes me know that whatever you need to do well.
So it's a good morale booster.
It's a good morale booster. And then I want to always use that to say something to some people who neglected their farms in that Akwa Ibom community farm. While I was doing, I know this award may have come because people were observing me. Yeah, whatever you do, create visibility for yourself. Sometimes I will go there, sit inside, stay there, water the farm myself, spray the farm myself, do the manuring myself, do all those jobs. I have other staff working with me. But then I do those things because I want to get the best. And one of the things I do to ensure that the processes and the procedures are carried out. We don't use fertilizers in our farms. We use only organic manure. We use compost and all those stuff.
So
I am always
organic.
there. Purely organic. I can boldly say my farm is purely organic. And I'm always there to make sure that I follow through the processes is being carried on. So that is what I want to encourage every other person here.
All right. So going forward, what is your word out there for young people? Like you said, some people neglected their farms, and then look at how you're being recognized today. And even beyond that, we've seen some lapses. Even with the occurrence of the COVID-19 pandemic, food supply has become a big challenge. So what is your word going out there to young people who are also looking forward to do this?
My word to young people who are looking forward to do this is that I really feel everyone should go into farming. I'm an engineer by profession and by practice. I'm actually working. But I love farming. Like I put in my presentation that is recorded in this program here. I went into farming. My friend introduced me to cucumbers. From 2016, I've been cultivating different types of crops. There's no year I don't cultivate, from cucumbers to okra to tomatoes to all those stuffs. My motivation is that there should be good and healthy food. So everyone should go into farming and everyone to see that we produce good and healthy food. Yes, I trust God that, like what the keynote speaker said today, that Akwa Ibom State and Nigeria as a whole should go into mechanized farming and export to outside Nigeria. But even if we don't go that much, If everyone does 1 or 2 farms
Yeah,
around
only
here,
2 ways.
we should have enough food to eat in this state. So that's my encouragement to every other person. Everyone should go into farming, irrespective of your skill. If everyone, you produce some stuff, I produce some stuff, and we all have food, at least there won't be hunger. And you know the phase 2 goals of the SDGs has to be no food and hunger. So if we all go into farming, we'll see that there will be sufficient food and there will be no hunger.
Thank you so much for your input and congratulations on your award today.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you.
Like this food. See, Dr. Promise talk, in 2050, we will have 17 billion human beings again. We have not finished taking care of these ones here. With 7 billions, how food go take reach us? They want to take us back to our fathers. When my father born 17 of us. And me tall pass among all of them. And we can't use 2 months senior ourselves. When we say if you no grow quick, your younger one go senior you. Food, we dey eat food on ration. Timetable day, Gary afternoon with salt. No, Gary afternoon with salt in the morning. Then afternoon, Gary and yam boiled. In the evening, Gary and beans to take you through the 6 hours of the night. In the morning, we go back to Gary and salt. You see that rotation? We eat chicken once a year. Only on Christmas Day. You eat chicken, and when you eat the chicken, you will sit down one place for 3 days. So that the chicken go doing work for your body. The protein, the nutrients, the carbohydrate, the vegetable. After 3 days, go and shit, go and do anything you want to do. And my father, very sensitive man, he will buy chicken January 1st, 50 naira fowl. Not be chicken in the buy chick. Buy chick January 1st, 50 naira, can't give us for house. Now we go can't train our own fowl for Christmas. As you dey pass, you go draw carry. As you dey pass, you go draw. The fowl go dey grow January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. You get 1 August where the fowl lost. We can't find fowl for August. You remember some for go radio station, go do announcement. If you have seen a fowl, missing no hair in the neck, we've don't cut 1 leg. The fowl is jumping, if found, return to the nearest. Seriously, my father, once. And the most annoying part is that my father had 15 boys, 2 girls. And these 2 girls with 15 boys, now 1 room now we they stay. That 1 room, when we sleep, lock door, our legs, they remain outside. Get one day, armed robbers come, they knock the door. Open the door, open the door. My elder brother said, the door, they open, oh. Enter if you want rob. When the commander opened the door, see human beings. Where they found themselves. Not only him, tell the other guys, another group don't they here. Where we go rob another place. Now so, they take leave us. Room where they pray, make space there. We can't they pray. Man, our younger sister, our 2 sisters marry, make space there for the house. We they pray. We don't know say our prayer come backfire, then come go outside. Go carry belly. Come born twins. We can't do 24. We can't do 24 for our house. For our house. That is why I became a breadwinner at the age of 2. I mature on time because my father could just carry, hey, come here. How old are you? Say 1.2 years. Come, now your farm be this. Start to farm here. Mature on time. That is why we could not join any of the force. Police force, armed force, and Nigerian army, navy, even armed robber force. Because we are short like this. If you see my father looks up to me, I look down on him. So, the reason why we are like this, now because my father not train us well. The school I went to is a government primary school, Amana. But up till now, the government is not aware of that school. That school is in Cross River State, not in Cross River. The fence of the school, part of it is in Cameroon. And part of it is in Nigeria. If you jump like this, you go hear French. Bonjour, ça va bien. You come back, you hear good morning, how are you? That's the fence. Now, leg, now they take do border. Telling you, that school, sweet school. Highest school fee when my father paid for that school from primary 1 to primary 6 was 120 naira. My father, the price school fee, when you tell him 18 naira, go carry you go to the principal. How much did you tell this boy? Price school fee. I was in primary 4 in that school for 4 years. Not as if I don't get sense, but when I pass, my friends, they fail. I know say primary 5 no go sweet without your friends. So you come back to meet them in life. And that is how relationships should be. Because you have made it does not mean you should leave people you started with. Always go back to their class. Once, maybe they know say their bros don't show. So for 4 years, I was doing like this. That 4 years, I did that school one day. School where they use native language, teach us English language. Now our headmistress come one day. Hello class, we have a new teacher. And he's going to take us on French. Eh? English, we know if we talk French. Now you gotta come. And this French teacher is very bad. I have just 5 minutes, I'll soon round up. Very bad. Then we just enter class. She just enter class. Bam, are you cracking the joke I'm cracking? You're cracking a joke. Are your people laughing? They're laughing. If you are laughing, tell them if you are laughing, wave your hand. They are laughing. Hey, put your hands together. That means this guy can interpret. He can interpret during rapture. Primary 4, the French teacher just waka come. Bim, 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 bim. You waka go class. That's it, my time don't finish. Sir, I will come back for the balance of the show. Put your hands together. My name is General Ode.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for General Ode. Wonderful. No, normally when she comes up like this, she likes to give a recap of what the person does.
Yeah, so. No, I couldn't help but laugh when he talked about the rationing of the food. That alone would also give you an understanding of why he watches the girls that go out with their guys and when they keep saying 2, 2, 2. Okay. Only someone that knows how rationing of food goes would pay attention to such. So that's what came to my mind. But he's a fantastic guy. Please put your hands together again for General Ode.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some serious business. We'll go straight now to the panel discussion. I think this would be the very last talk session in this program, and would just introduce to you our panelists. You know, they say ladies first.
Okay, so I take the lead. All right, meeting our panelists this afternoon, I'd like to introduce Lydia Thompson, a researcher, CEO, All Green Integrated Farms. Okay, what happened there? Still introducing Lydia Thompson as she walks up. Please put your hands together for her. Researcher, CEO, All Green Integrated Farms and Agro Consult. Lydia Thompson is an agropreneur who has had 10 years experience in various sectors of the agro industry, such as animal production, feed processing, fruits and vegetables production and processing, natural fertilizer and pesticides production, consultancy, training, and advisory services. Please put your hands together again for Lydia Thompson.
Up next, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Ime Emmanuel Uwa, entrepreneur, politician, and philanthropist. Serial entrepreneur, results-driven leader, and purpose-driven technocrat are some terms that attempt to define Mr. Ime Uwa. With over 22 years of Cognex experience in business operations, marketing and sales, product and brand innovation, agriculture and agribusiness, change projects and people management, due diligence, deal structuring and negotiations, as well as corporate governance, Ime Uwa is seasoned and thoroughbred. He has excellent political relations and experience developed over time as a youth development advocate and special advisor to the Akwa Ibom State Youth Caucus. He currently serves as Senior Special Assistant to the Akwa Ibom State Governor on Marketing and Brand Management. Akwa Ibom Youths, I give to you Mr. Ime Emmanuel Uwa.
And introducing again another panelist, I'd like to have you meet this afternoon Theodore Williams, Please put your hands together for Theodore Williams as he joins us on the podium this afternoon, a legal practitioner with close to 15 years post-call experience, which has been honed in Lagos, Abuja, and Kaduna. A public commentator and analyst, he has certification in public relations and one-time in-house current affairs analyst with Heritage FM. Put your hands together for him again, Theodore Williams.
Up next, ladies and gentlemen, Ndi Freke Patrick. Ndi Freke Patrick is a development practitioner with experience that cuts across youth development, socio-economic development, and policy advocacy, among other areas. He has worked with several institutions to design and implement demand-driven initiatives that resulted in high and sustainable impacts. Ladies and gentlemen, Ndi Freke Williams, one more time.
Another panelist that would join us right now on the podium, I'd like to also introduce to you this afternoon. Also introducing. Okay. Okay, I'd like to introduce as well Hansen. Please put your hands for Mr. Hansen. Hansen Johnson is an international ICT consultant, founder, CEO of Start Innovation Hub. He is the pioneer head of Ecosystem Directorate at Innovation Support Network, ISN, Nigeria. He has robust knowledge of the economic, social, and institutional context of Nigeria. I introduce to you Hansen Johnson.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Hansen Johnson. Up next, we introduce Sifon Okon. Can we put our hands together for her? Extremely hardworking and motivated professional with over 6 years of experience working in the non-governmental sector, predominantly in the field of youth participation, teen engagement, and team management. Her down-to-earth outlook and ability to get straight to the root of the problem has meant that she has had a good track record in challenging environments, building solid foundations and developing on outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Sifon Okon.
At this point, it's my pleasure to introduce the moderator of this panel session, Kingsley Atan. Please put your hands together for Mr. Kingsley Atan, a motivated and creative individual, a youth development practitioner with over 10 years of accumulated experience in the field of youth development, governance, and advocacy. He has coordinated project grants funded by DFID YPAC, USAID SACE, USAID ISWF, PIND NDYEAP, IFES NEVR Fund Foundation, Stunt among others. He is currently the Operations and Development Manager with Youth Alive Foundation Nigeria, a non-profit organization that seeks to play a significant role at facilitating a just, equitable, and progressive society for youths. Please put your hands together again for the moderator of the panelist session, Mr. Kingsley Atan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute delight to be here. First and foremost, we want to say a very big thank you to the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Udom Emmanuel. A round of applause for him. Now, the reason why I had to do that first is because his leadership has brought us to where we are, created that environment where we can be able to collaborate. These are young persons doing incredible work. If there had not been that enabling environment, I don't think that was possible. So we want to thank him for this incredible opportunity. So events like this is very, very critical, because some of the things we're going to be able to reap from is divergence of thoughts and experience from different sectors. We have people with great expertise. And then if you're talking about food systems, we're also talking about ensuring that the actors, interactors, every other thing that has to do with food systems, marketing, distribution, technology, we have them well seated here. And then we're going to be able to get to understand and know what are those critical important things that we need to know as young people. How can we participate? And we are also taking from a leaf from what our keynote speaker had done. So we are not doing something different. So they have been introduced. I'll quickly go with the questions. And it's very clear and simple. So they say ladies first. And the reason why they say ladies first is because of gender equality. So please, I would want to go with ladies first. Let me start with Nsifon. Nsifon, please, could you share with us your experience? How has it been? And how has the agricultural sector transformed the way you do things?
It's been an amazing journey so far, though it comes with a whole lot of challenges operating from this climb. You know, where we have, restricted, support for farmers, though we have some support, but basically some people who are into agriculture, especially in Akwa Ibom State, will know that there are different, challenges as accrued to agriculture in Akwa Ibom State. But generally, it's been an amazing experience, getting to serve the people, give them, the necessary products they need to live, to survive and the rest of that. So as we go into the discussion, we will get to hear some of the challenges we have and how we can improve on them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nsifon. Okay, so I'm just quickly going to move away from that and then go strictly to at least some of the questions that we need to be able to ask ourselves. Okay, so I'm going to be going straight to Mr. Ime, the SSA, and then I'm going to be asking him these very clear questions. What are those policies already established? Yes, the doctor has talked about one, but what are those policies? What are those programs that can enhance transforming food systems in the state?
Okay, thank you, Kingsley. In Akwa Ibom State, like we've heard from the keynote speaker, a couple of things have been done, starting with the production of that policy document. That policy document was done in 2017. A lot of professionals, a lot of academias, and farmers were carried along in developing that policy document. And of course, like the keynote speaker said, there is importance. There is something you need to be able to develop or implement policies, which is data. So this state government introduced a Directorate of Agric Investment under the AKIPO, where recently they've done data collection of farmers, in which that is supposed to aid in development and implementing most of the ideas and suggestions in that policy document. It was done in 2015. It's all encompassing. Thank you.
So a follow-up question to that quickly. So I would want you to tell us, how can young people be part of the design, planning of these policy actions that you have mentioned?
Okay, there are talks.
So you can share some of your experiences.
Yeah, there are talks about including youths in policy formation, design, and creation. We are lucky here in Akwa Ibom for the governor that we have, the governor of the state, that a lot of times has foresight, and he understands that he needs to create opportunities for the youth to be more practical, not just to attend a meeting and say you are forming policies. Hence the initiation of the Ibom Community Farms. At the Ibom Community Farms, a lot of young people are engaged, and how that affects policies and designs of programs is that you have a first-hand opportunity to know the challenges and the problems that youths have in developing interest in agriculture. So that's one program that I know so far has been able to impact on a lot of young persons. They've experienced, some of them have tried their hands on something, cultivation. Some did not go so well, but some went so well, and they are ready to try till they get better in agriculture.
Okay, so let me go to Indifreke. Policy is very, very important. It's actually the framework, the instrument that can be able to drive development. So I'm aware of a youth bill that supports agricultural cooperatives. So my question now is, how can young people benefit, and of what effect? What will that bill do for young people?
Okay, thank you very much, John Kingsley. We cannot overemphasize the importance of policy in whatever development agenda we want to make. And why that is so critical is because, you see, to drive development, it's going to require a whole lot of resources, whether you call it financial or non-financial. And then it's also going to require time. And it's going to require a whole lot of intelligence and a lot of work that will go into all of that. So you want to be sure that as you're going about that development agenda, first and foremost, it is the right agenda. So what policy does is that through research and, putting together thoughts, minds together, what that does is it has first and foremost identified if we need to embark on this road, number one. Number two, if we're going to embark on this road, who are the people we need to bring on board? Number three, who will it benefit? And how will they want to be to the initiative or whatever to benefit them? This has to go into the design of whatever programs we are going to implement. The keynote speaker was giving his speech, and something struck me. He said that in Akwa Ibom State, we've had a lot of, agenda and a lot of initiative. But there was a comma there, but limited result. And it begs the question, why do we have limited result? It appears we are doing so much. It appears we are doing a lot, but we are not getting the required result. That is one of the gaps in the whole idea about policy formulation, design, and then implementation. So it's very, very critical that as we move ahead, we begin to take these things into consideration. And two things now, are points that we can immediately latch on. Number one is the food sufficiency policy that we talked about. And then number two is the AKYDF bill that we've talked about. In the AKYDF bill, for instance, the food sufficiency policy, unfortunately, I have not seen it to even know the content. But I'm going to write on the verdict that the keynote speaker has given, that it's a very valid instrument that can even serve the benefits of Akwa Ibom State for the next 50 years. Add to that the Akwa Ibom Youth Development Fund Bill. Now, the Akwa Ibom Youth Development Fund Bill has 6 key components that we can tie into the food sufficiency plan and whatever agenda the Ministry of Agriculture in Akwa Ibom State is going to run. And I'm just going to run through them quickly, if you permit me. Number one is that there is room for a reorientation and awareness program. Today we talk about why youth are not in agric. We need to begin to desensitize, that notion that agric is meant for a particular age group of people. And that's a whole lot of design entirely that we need to begin to do that, right? Then secondly, that bill also provides for cooperative. We talked about it, the need for cluster, bodies coming together so that we can accelerate and aggregate this kind of result we want to get. So the bill actually addresses that. The bill also addresses the importance of research, which is something we don't take too seriously in this country generally. And then I would like to see us do more, even in Akwa Ibom State. Research is very key. I don't want to plant something here only to discover that 2-3 years, it's not the right place I actually chose to plant that thing. So research is very key, right? Then it also talks about the whole issue of technical and vocational education training. So beyond the fact that we're going to put you through the 4 walls of a school, we all know today that even our education, for not wanting to sound too loud, has a lot of commas in it. That we go through it, and then when we come back, we see that the realities that we face, our education did not prepare us for that.
Okay.
So one of the things that can do is also address that.
When you're rounding up your questions, I will just allow you just align those thoughts. Let's quickly just step away from policy. Yes, there's so much talk about policy. But there's a major key driver, there's a key actor in promoting food systems healthily, and that is the technology. So my question now goes to Hansen. Hansen, could you please tell us, in what way can an average Akwa Ibomite leverage on technology to be able to scale up in agricultural business?
All right, thank you very much, Kingsley. It's quite simple, though complex. So technology is an enabler. So if you have interest, all you need is seek information. And for you to have access to information, you may need devices or gadgets. And it's beyond the gadget, you need infrastructure access to be able to access this information. And when the information eventually comes, you need to manage so that you don't get overwhelmed, So having interest is a very vital thing or starting point. Then the keynote speaker, Promise, mentioned the role mentors play. So I may not know how to get to where I want to be, but I know where I want to go to. And I have seen people that are demonstrating traits in life that I would want to imbibe, So I approach them, make them my mentors, and they tell me how I can be who they are today. If it took them 10 years to be who they are, I should be able to get there in 3 years. That's how mentorship.
So how do you secure these mentors?
So scaling this, again, is beyond you and yourself. Environment, policy, we can't run away from policy. So policy is the starting point. So if we see others scaling in maybe Kenya, South Africa, and other places, there is something about policy and enabling environment, and you cannot roll away that fact.
So what are those innovations can we as people in the state, can young people leverage on or perhaps adopt, modify to suit our own context?
So something as simple as using your mobile phone to monitor how your crop is performing in terms of irrigation. So we have mobile phones, and depending on who you are, your profession, or who you want to be, you can tailor the kind of applications you download to your mobile devices. So by taking a picture, you can contribute data to a platform that also help other people. In Africa generally, we are downloaders. We don't like uploading. We are purchasers. We are consumers. We don't produce. So if someone here is looking for the photo image of our governor to design something, and that image is not there, he may give up. He may not want to go and look for his own copy of that image to upload for others to use. So we should learn to contribute data. So apart from mobile phones, something as simple as drip irrigation, even though it's expensive, those are what we can key into to help improve our crop yield. Again, outside technology, are you even interested in what another person is doing? How able are we to collaborate with each other? Where you bought your seed or seedling, are you open enough to tell a fellow Akwa Ibom person where you bought it? Or you want to be a middleman? So we have to start from there.
Thank you very much. So talking about seedlings, so the SSA on marketing, brand management actually talked about the Ibom community farm. So I'm going to be going to Lydia at this point right now. Please tell us what has been the gains of this farm and how has it also benefited young people?
Well, being part of the Ibom Community Farm project has been great. so far. And we're able to cultivate about 7 vegetables. And we had a good result. And we hope to have a better result with what we are just starting to do during this second phase of the cultivation, where we are trying to revitalize the soil in order for us to make sure that we practice pure organic farming. And that's basically what we are doing right now.
Okay, so let me just quickly hold you there and then go to Barrister Williams, because Hanson did talk about collaboration, of course, holding seedlings and the rest of it. So what's the importance in terms of collaboration, that young people can be able to collaborate to ensure that there is a good transforming food systems in Akwa Ibom State?
Hello. Well, thank you so much for, there is no, divided we stand. And united we stand, divided we fall. You cannot underestimate or underemphasize the need for people to network. The world has become a global village in our fingertips. And what has made that possible is networking. What is networking? You collaborate with me, I collaborate with you. I reach out to you, you reach out to me. You have information you can share with me. You put it out and I get the information. There's something you need to know that you do not know. I put it out and you get. So for the success of the Ibom, farmers planting or community farm, and for proper development of the youths need to collaborate now more than ever before. The idea and the essence and the era of individualism is all over. It's our thing. It's from my state, from my local government, it's from my tribe, it's from my ethnic group. It's all over because the world has become a global village. We are using items or gadgets that have been produced by people that we don't even know. Some of us don't even know the tribes that they are from. We see Mark Zuckerberg and we look at him, he's a white man. Of course, amongst the whites, they have their races. They have Jews, they have non-Jews, they have Europeans, they have Caucasians. But these people have buried all of those differences amongst them, and they've collaborated to ensure that they make life easier for themselves. And so we need to collaborate. The youth of Akwa Ibom State need to collaborate. We need to, emphasize more the things that make us similar than the things that makes us dissimilar. And so there is no need, there's no basis that we can succeed without, collaboration. We need to be a team to be able to to succeed, sir.
So we need to be a team in order for us to be able to collaborate. So that's
we need to make a team to succeed.
Yes.
For instance, the success of this event now is because a team came together and put their heads together and they worked together for one purpose, for one common goal. And that's why we are here. And so if the youth of Akwa Ibom State, in every area of their lives, in every aspect of their life, can actually be open-minded and collaborate, we will have more successes than the failures that we have.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me quickly go to Siphon. Okay, so when we talk about farming, everybody feels it's a dirty job for selected few people. But I can tell you there are a lot of good, wealthy people who are farming. How do we improve public awareness around us? How do we ensure that most young people understand the value chain in terms of farming and can be able to take advantage of those opportunities? You could also share some of your lessons that would also interest us.
Okay, for me, I think there is that awareness, but what we have is fear to go into the system. Number one, I'll share practical challenges that I face because I am into the system. We are trying to transform the food system, so we have to talk about Akwa Ibom State. How does it affect us? How can we be self-sufficient? How can we provide for the people we have? So farmers in Akwa Ibom State have the challenge of lack of regulation. Firstly, we have fake chemicals coming into state, and you are going to, maybe you have a 3-hectare farm cultivating tomato, and you are going out there to buy chemicals, and then you spray that on your crop. The next week, everything is down. You go to buy seeds, it is fake seeds. You have stunted growth, when it is time for you to harvest, you invested millions of naira, and then the profit, what you are getting out is in thousands. That is going to dissuade young people from going into agriculture. Now, collaboration. How can we set up clusters and cooperatives to help us monitor this? How can we work with the Ministry of Agriculture to help set up regulation bodies to help us review all of this so that we can have youth that can come out and say, I want to go into large-scale agriculture, I want to do this and that. And then we have the issue of preservation. Akwa Ibom is mainly on the consumption side. How can we have more companies come up for processing all these things so that we are able to, so you are able to bear the risk to raise the capital, you are able to bear the risk to buy these chemicals and risk it to cultivate the farm, and in the end, you don't have the market to sell it. You have to struggle with the market forces out there to send out your goods. How can we build Akwa Ibom in such a way that we can have a strong market force so that we are self-sufficient? You are able to cultivate those things and take it to the market and sell them. And how can we even have subsidized support from the government for farmers to get farm tools, from irrigation to, everything that will make farming easy, from the rainy season to the dry season, so you are not the one bearing. Farming is such a Herculean task, and we need a lot of help. It's not an individual business, it's a government business. Government has to come in fully and really to support farmers before we can say, okay, we are self-sufficient or we are able to feed ourselves. We have a number of people cultivating cassava in their backyard, but we still have a hike in garri prices. Why is that? So these are real-time questions we need to ask ourselves before we say, okay, youth should come in. What is the support on ground for the youth to come in? What is the support structure for the youth to access, from capital to tools to everything? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that was very, very strategic. So there's actually a call out. Okay, so that would now take me back to the SSA, because I still want him to talk about what are those contributions of a localized food production that perhaps is positioned to provide help for farmers, for people who really want to go into agriculture.
Okay. For me, personally, I am a farmer. I understand much of the challenges and problems that farmers do face, and I get these experiences firsthand. But I must beg to differ that agriculture or farming is not government business. In my little experience, I have an understanding that interest in farming takes 80% of success in agriculture. If the interest is right, most of the things you would do would be passion driven. And from my experience in agriculture, I know that agriculture is passion. Because if we say that it is government business, everybody will be in agriculture to get a chunk of money that comes from government, not to cultivate. So passion is what should drive agriculture. And that's why, in a little way, the target of the Ibom Community Farms is 1,000 hectares of farms. The target is that every local government should be able to have at least about 45 hectares of land that we are cultivating. Now, over there at the demonstration farm, there are a lot of ways we are also supporting in funding. How do we fund? We don't give money, but we say we subsidize, I think, 60% of all farm input. So if you are buying seedling, if you are buying fertilizer, or any of the agrochemicals that we use in the first, it is now that we want to now do pure organic. But before, all those things we subsidize 60%. So the expectation from the farmer was to just contribute 40%. That is a way of funding. So all of these are opportunities, and we believe that with reasonable level of interest, passion, the experience that we've had in that Ibom Community Farm, the demonstration farm, is that a lot of young persons that showed interest in the first few months got distracted at some point, and that is the gap I believe that we need to bridge. For so for participants to understand that you must love to farm for you to succeed in farming. It's not just coming around to, we saw farmers that were serious, they have harvested, they've made profit. We also saw farmers that did not weep and they did not make money and they lost all. So I think it's more of passion than government to be the drivers of agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there's been around a very strong theme around government promoting partnership, government promoting that enabling environment that young people can be able to explore the various opportunities for promoting a transformative food system. And there's also that call that was made, like, we need help. And then we've heard it, this help is there. But what is very key for you to be able to leverage on this help is that you must have passion. You must be very, very interested in getting into this farming, because it shouldn't be all about the money. Now, this is a growing conversation because we're going to be living here. When it has to do with habit installation, it is a process. It's not an event that we just come here and we sit and we go. No, there is a process. There's going to be an ongoing conversation. The SSA on their branding and also have talked about that. So we're going to be having a very robust conversation. We want you to pay attention. I'm going to allow the panelists to take through, give out your signing out messages to Akwa Ibomite. So let's start with Miss Lydia, and then we take turns, and then we'll round up the session.
Okay, I would love to say that agripreneurship is a business of passion. We really need to develop strong passion for the business. But again, we should remember that agriculture is not just about passion. We should equally approach it from the business point of view. And so it is necessary to not just acquire the skills needed in agriculture, but to acquire business skills, and such as the one the state government has organized, the MEGP. Personally, my regret is that I did not go for a business skill acquisition before starting a business in agriculture. So it's necessary to acquire both skills in agriculture and in the business line. And again, networking is quite necessary. We cannot stand alone. So we should be ready to form groups of persons that we could actually sell or buy our produce, that we could actually advertise our produce. We should remember that we cannot stand. We can only do this work together. And then consistency and persistency is very important. Agriculture is a business, but sometimes, just like every other business, there could be some downfalls. And that's not the time for us to just run away and leave the agri sector. If we leave it, how are we going to produce our foods? So it's quite necessary for us to be consistent and persistent, get into a mentorship program, get to learn from others that know more. We should be ready to unlearn what we had known, learn and relearn. This will really help us to achieve greater heights in agriculture in Nigeria.
Okay, so for the purpose of ensuring that this panel session is very, very inclusive, we don't mind giving room for questions. But these young people here are very accessible, so you can be able to reach them and ask whatever questions you want. But in order for us to be fair and have a balanced discourse, we will take questions from one person from this role, one person from this role, and one person from this other role. So okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. We'll take 4. Thank you. Please just come up. Just the 4 of you, please come. Thank you. So you have 30 seconds to just tell us your questions, please. Thank you. Just go straight to the questions.
My question goes thus. Having heard all that have been said this afternoon, I'm opening up. My area is standardization, whereby the materials produced, if we are going to export them, can take the hygiene standard for people to buy. So that have not been discussed, the area of standardization, where our materials meet up the international standard of hygiene, so that people can, now when we open up the market, not only Nigerians that can buy, we can now take our produce to international market. That is where I want anybody can try the area of standardization. Thank you.
Okay. So the essay on brand, and the essay on marketing, brand, and management is going to respond to that and do your closing thoughts. Yes. Next, please.
Thank you very much. My question is, we've listened to the panelists spoke, and we are quite impressed. And most of the things they are saying were narrowed to passion and interest. And again, the last speaker here talked about skills and then seeing farming as a business. But I want to take my question from what the last panelist there said, Siphon, concerning agriculture to be a government thing, not only an individual thing. Now, obviously, for me, if I didn't have the interest and the passion, I wouldn't have been here.
So you can let us know your direct question.
So the direct question is, if we have all the passion, the interest, the skills, the training, but we do not have the capital to begin this agriculture from, how can we actually begin? That's my question.
I hope there is no target to hit the SSA on marketing. So don't worry, he's going to respond to those questions. So we have second to the last person.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. I wanted to say something based on what the Ms. Lydia said and what the SSG, I can't remember his name, said also about having passion. My question is this: if we talk about having passion before we delve into agriculture, we need to ask ourselves, what is the passion Dangote has for cement? If there is no passion there, then it goes that we have to take the agricultural system in the business-minded way. Now, the second question, which is the most important one that looks like an idea, is this: what is actually bad if the government makes it mandatory for multi-millionaire company to make it compulsory to have a sector, a diversification of agriculture? Wouldn't that actually be a source of employment for people? We understand the fact that when private schools want to establish their private system, we have boards that actually ensure that there are some things put in place in that sector before it can be licensed. What if we have a situation like that for other bigger companies? That is a sector that makes sure that they have to have an aspect of agriculture so that before they can be fully established. That, in a way, we actually put down Nigeria as a highly consuming country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am very sure that the government will put that under advisory.
Let me go straight to the question. Assuming that you have a plot of land and you are using for crop production consistently, and you find it difficult to multiply, how can one multiply?
Thank you very much. Our land, Siphon, take that question. Okay, please come back. Sorry. Like, if you have a plot of land and you want to multiply, how would you be able to multiply? Yes, but anyone can also contribute to that too, please. While you are running, taking turns to round up. Okay, the last question.
Thank you very much. So, from the discussion I've heard so far, we're focusing on the farm, and I think there's need to also expand the discussion to cover the whole agri value chain, from farm to processing, to marketing, to consumption, and then to management of food waste. I feel all of these areas would provide employment. So I would like us to also buttress on all of that value chain. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. So you would respond to the questions as it interests you, and then you round up. Please, we would just appeal that you take just 1 minute. Thank you. No, let's continue from the SSAF.
Okay. I would want to start by saying that so that this will now guide in answering some of these questions. We need to understand that agri has an entire value chain, from production to processing, like the last speaker just said. And when we say agriculture and encouraging youths to join agriculture, we should take our minds off purely farming, as in purely production. Production is just a part of it. And when I say it's passion-driven, truly it's passion-driven. Because in production, you are putting something in the soil and you go back home and sleep. It is almost hope that that thing will come out fine the way you expected it. You are going to do all the, I think I can reduce it to just 10% of all the trainings and technical knowledge that you need in the production, but rather passion, care for your crops or for your beds or for your livestock or whatever you do. But when we encourage young people to join agriculture, we are talking entrepreneurship. There are a lot of areas. We need someone that is supposed to sew farm uniforms. As in, we need a tailor that all I do is good quality farm uniforms for farmers. People will buy. That person is in the sector. We need a transporter. We need a transporter that says, oh, my work is just to move farm produce from this farm to market. That's all I do. So my vehicle is to move farm produce. There is AC, so you are assuring the farmer that my services will make sure that I harvest, or when you harvest fresh produce, it will get to the customer very fresh. So there's a whole lot around agriculture. So when we are now talking of funding in agriculture, I mean, the Ministry of Agri is doing a lot in terms of supporting, giving loans to people cultivating cassava, sometimes giving them input in terms of support, because when they give you input, that is also a way of funding. But now, if you are into entrepreneurship, if you are doing agropreneurship, you will understand that some of the ways that you need to look for funds for your business is not necessarily that government would give you money, because the problem is, who will go? We have 7.2 million people in Akwa Ibom. Let's assume that 1 million people or 2 million people are into business. Assumption. Who will government give money and who will government not give money? So government supporting entrepreneurs or supporting people into business must come through programs, through platforms where it can be monitored. There are a lot of opportunities, not just state government, federal government. Sometime in 2020, because of this COVID-19, the federal government, I mean, there were a lot of opportunities for people to apply and access funds for their businesses. I bet you in Akwa Ibom, we went around villages. We were begging people to indicate interest. A lot of people were not just interested. That's as simple as that. So the idea is, government will not come and single out someone and say, oh, because we know you are like this, come and take money. We must show interest in government programs and apply for some of those things, and you will benefit. I know that a lot of people in this room benefited from some of those loans. So loans are available, grants are available. But I tell you that that passion that I talked about is what will drive you to do all the form filling, all the registration that is required, and all the things, checklists that you must tick for you to be able to access these opportunities. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so let's listen to the barrister.
There's a question someone asked. How can we begin or access capital when we have the passion and interest? And the other person talked about expansion and an evaluation of the whole value chain system, which I think Mr. Owa has really expatiated on. Then the first person asked a question about standardization and regulation of the quality of produce that we produce. Now, that's very critical because when I was listening to Mrs. Siphon, she said something about the fears of the farmers in Akwa Ibom State. And what is the fear? That you want to buy produce seedlings. Sometimes you get substandard seedlings. You want to buy chemicals for preparation of your farm, you get substandard, chemicals, and they end up actually not improving the yields, but damaging the entire, farm effort. Now, there is no doubt about the fact that for any venture, human venture, to be successful, there must be an agreed principle or standard, an acceptable practice system within that process. And so there is need for the government as a regulatory agency to ensure that we have a proper channel of monitoring and ensuring that the seedlings that are being cultivated in Akwa Ibom State, they meet standard. Recently, a few days ago, we had a family of people who died because they ate a particular food. Until today, we don't know what was the cause of that death. But the story is that they ate a meal for dinner. And the meal in question is a stable meal in this country. And they all died. And so no one can rule out the fact that it could have been a bad process or could have been poisoned, probably from the process of transportation. Now, you see our vehicles, women are coming back from the market with food produce. They have fish, they have all manners of things, all packed in one vehicle. Now, you cannot tell the level of reaction that would have, the contamination that would have taken place in some of these processes of transporting this food. So, absolutely, there's need for for us to have a regulatory agency or some sort of a regulation that regulates the process or the standard of the kind of food produce that our farmers produce. Now, the questioner also asked about how does our food meet international standard? Because transforming the food system means that we have to transform the system and the processes of preparing our agricultural produce so that it can meet international standard. So that they become not just suitable for us to consume for subsistence purposes, but for exportation purposes, so as to give us the opportunity to yield, to earn the desired foreign exchange and higher income. So there is a dire need for the government to look into the process, into the ways of standardizing and regulating transportation, production, the quality of chemicals, and the standard of the chemicals that are used.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. A round of applause for him, please. Okay, Idifreke, let's have your last statement.
Okay, so I'm going to keep it short. I hear what my Honorable SSA says, talking about the whole passion and all of that. Please, that is very valid. And I also subscribe to the fact that it should be the first. But you see, in light of the discussion we are having, and for this discussion to take us to where we actually want to get to, we also need to begin now to have a thinking around how we can take that to the next level. Because if we are just looking at it from the passion part and then them driving it as much as they can, we will remain at a subsistence level for years to come. And that's why the government is key. So for us to have that accelerated development, that accelerated growth, and that level where we can say we are farming enough to feed ourselves. I mean, we are all privy to the fact that COVID-19 was a shocker, right? We see people dying from hunger. And then you ask yourself, with all the farming we are doing, we yet can't still feed ourselves sufficiently. Okay. So it's important that as we appreciate the fact that the entrepreneurs need to do their bit, we also need government to begin to have a forward-thinking process around how we can have sufficiency in food. And that has to start from a policy angle. And that's why I believe that where to go from here is to begin to look at that food sufficiency plan and see if there's need to pass it through legislation, let's do that. If there's need to begin to implement it, let's do that. But most importantly, from the beginning of the process, let's invite young people to the table so that they will have their input into whatever design, so that during the implementation, they won't have problem implementing it, or they won't have problem combating the challenges that will come out from them. So that is very key.
Thank you very much. I know we have the civil society in this room, so that's an advocacy. I know we have policymakers. That's also something that can be a talking point for you when you are on the table. Thank you. Okay, so let's listen to our tech guy.
All right, so as we are parting, someone was asking how you can maximize a plot of land that is having vegetable crops consistently. So let me assume you have been planting what is taking more of nitrogen from the soil. So if you keep on doing that, at some points you won't have a good soil to cultivate that same crop. So you may also have to think of rotating that crop with another crop that will be returning nitrogen to the soil. Then if your area of expansion is in terms of scalability, you may have to leave that demonstration farm or plots and look for something bigger. Or there are countries, they don't have land for farming, they plant in the sky. So there's something called vertical farming. So yes, you can plant on the soil, the earth, okay, and construct something that enables you plant above the earth or above the soil. That's possible. Apart from that, you may have to look for a bigger expanse of land. And when you think of that, you think of money. So you need to have a business plan. You don't need government to write a business plan. If you have a business plan that is viable and very, very good, anybody, even in this room, even myself, will invest in that business plan and you get to expand. So going back to technology, right? So there is something called precision farming. Instead of you just planting blindly, yes, we are planting corn here, you just go and plant corn. With precision farming, you will know what is required. Before you even plant, you should test the soil, know the pH value or level of that soil, and what you want to plant there. At what pH does it perform more, you know? So if this pH, the pH of this particular soil is 5.5, for example, and you check that what you want to plant needs 7 point something, there's no magic, there's no prayers that will make it work. So before you even plant, it's either you change that soil to make it 7.5 and above, or you look for what is going to grow at that pH of 5.5 and plants there so that you don't have anyone to blame. That's one. Then there are sensors. I don't need to go to the farm to check to know when to water my farm. I can connect my farm in a way that whenever there is need for water, not in the whole farm, in an aspect of the farm, something will trigger water at the particular level required to water that particular plant. On farming, there are also sensors that will enable, even in animal production, I can use a sensor like ultrasound sensor to know the volume of meat expected from a particular fish or cow so that I know when to make my profit. Some people raise broilers and they sell just because you need money or just because it's 3 months. It's not compulsory you should sell at 3 months or whatever time. How much have you invested into one broiler? Why are you selling now? Must you sell to the woman coming to buy? How about taking it to Le Meridian where they need the bigger ones? I've seen people say, in Uyo here, they don't buy cucumber that is bigger because they put them in nylon. In Oron, if it's not bigger, they don't buy your cucumber. So know the market you are cultivating for and serve that market productively.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I also want to let us know that one of the most powerful G's in the world is Google. And then if you want to know what is soil pH, please check Google. Let's get your last statement, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So in parting, I would say that we wouldn't have to waste our, all those wastes anymore. We have something called biomass, transforming waste into energy. Something like that is going on, and that's also going to help our planet. Also, we are talking about food sufficiency, and we are talking about transitioning from subsistence farming into large-scale agriculture, which will help us, be self-sufficient and provide for the larger populace. And that still brings me into the discussion of government involvement. I know they are doing a lot, and I know they will do more because of the questions that have come up. We will have regulations and we will have policies in place to help to empower farmers to do more. I appreciate the governor for what he has done, and I know he's going to do more. And thank you for the session.
Thank you very much. Please, you could access them at any point. We can't take all the questions. We don't really have any time. We are deeply very grateful. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Thank you very much. Just could you rise up and you can give them, just take a bow. Thank you. You have done very well. Thank you very much.
I believe you can do better. Please put your hands together for the panelists and also the moderator this afternoon. What a beautiful session there, and very enlightening as well. You want to say something?
Ladies and gentlemen, while the moderator and the panelists will take a brief photograph, would announce that the next segment we're moving on to now is the recognition and awards segment. A number of young persons in Akwa Ibom have been doing a lot in the direction of agriculture, investment, and of course production and all of that. And it's our job today as young persons to recognize and celebrate them. And so in a very short while, I'm going to be inviting the Freke. And the Freke, please do not go down. Please do not go down because of time or the lack of it. We'll just run through it. No profiles will be read. No profiles will be read. We'll upload them online much later because of time or the lack of it. In the meantime, a big shout out
that they eat and eat good food. And it has been my passion from the onset, giving food to families. Not just giving them the food to eat, but giving them adequate food, fresh from the farm, and making everyone comfortable. My name is Oti Ken Joshua. I'm from Okanafon local government area in Akwa Ibom State. I'm into sales of foodstuffs. One of the programs by Akwa Ibom State government that has impacted me is the My Entrepreneurship Goals program that I enrolled last year. And after the training, I was able to organize my life, shape my life, and then this outlet came out. Now, not only having an outlet, but having an outlet with a proper records of my products. I know what's...
Highlights of this event is the International Youth Day Awards, which we are going to be having now. I must want to first and foremost commend the Office of the SSA on Youth Matters, and then also through the Directorate of Marketing and Brand Management. They are the ones that are making these awards possible. So please, a round of applause for the Directorate of Marketing and Brand Management, and of course, the Office of the SSA on Youth. Now, quickly, before I call them up, let me just give you a brief about how we went about this. So, a call was put out there, very short notice. Yeah, we want to admit that. But we had a bit of criteria. We wanted to be sure that in line with what we were talking about in terms of transforming food systems, that we had agropreneurs that were actually trying to do their own bits in trying to achieve this. And so one of the things we looked at was, number one, of course, you have to be a youth, right? And we said, okay, the person must not be more than 45 years of age. And then secondly, you have to be an indigene of Akwa Ibom and you're doing business in Akwa Ibom. Then thirdly, the business should have existed for at least 1 year and then it's still operational. Then number four is that the business should at least employ 2 persons because we're talking about job creation. And then also, we want to see the capacity the business has in actually making money. Generating revenue. And so we looked at the ability of the business to generate over 1 million naira in annual revenue. And then also we looked at the innovativeness of the business. It may not be so wow like that, but you're trying to do something different that will actually add value to the system and to humanity. And then it also promotes healthy people and it empowers the environment in the process. So that was how we came about the winners of this award.
All right, thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when we call on your names, if you hear your name, you kindly just step forward. I don't know if those in charge of the checks, they can hear me. Okay, so kindly let's just bring the checks out. Thank you very much. Let me respectfully invite the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Youth Mobilization, also his colleague on Marketing and Brand Management, to kindly step forward and make the presentations, please. Okay, to ensure that there was an even spread, you would notice, if you check very closely, you would notice that we made sure that there was someone from each federal constituency to make sure that peculiarities and, peculiarities were respected. So not people that everyone clustered in Uyo and we just looked at Uyo. We made sure that the entire state was considered. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sure you're going to be proud of these winners. They are Daniel Black. Can we put our hands together for him? Daniel Black from Ikorabasi Federal Constituency. Daniel Black from Ikorabasi Federal Constituency. It's important to note that these young persons will be encouraged with a cash prize of 100,000 naira. Daniel Black from Ikorabasi Federal Constituency. Congratulations to you, Daniel Black.
Exclusive to JohnBiz.com.
Emil Borenoye, can we put our hands together for him? Congratulations. We do hope you inject this back into your business, and we wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, Aniebiet Antia, Itu Federal Constituency. Aniebiet Antia, without any iota of doubt, without any modicum of doubt, anyone who follows him would appreciate the appreciable impact he has made in his own small way. Congratulations, Aniebiet Antia of Antia Farms. Congratulations indeed. From Okanafun Federal Constituency, Okuime Ibekwe. Okuime Ibekwe. From Okanafun Federal Constituency. Congratulations, Okuime Ibekwe. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important for us to know that these are young persons, these are young Akwa Ibomites, active in agriculture in their own ways, ensuring that there is food sufficiency in Akwa Ibom State and employing people as well. From 18 and Federal Constituency, Udwak Ruben. Udwak Ruben. We should all learn celebration from female youths. These people know how to celebrate their own. Udwak Ruben from 18 and Federal Constituency.
Are we going to have a protest now? Okay. I'm sure something's going to be done about that. Please do not feel demotivated.
Is that empty one?
Can I see NigerFlavor.com? Joy Morris. It's not up to 10.
All right, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, she is going to receive her cash prize. Congratulations, Udwak Ruben. Congratulations. From Ikorekpene. Congratulations. Let me invite the Youth Council Chairman and Dakada Coordinator General to kindly join me on stage to make the next set of presentations, please. As I invite the winner from 18 and Federal Constituency, Joy Morris. From Ikorekpene, I beg your pardon. From Ikorekpene, Joy Morris. From Ikorekpene, Federal Constituency. Congratulations. Congratulations, Joy Morris. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Let me invite Christian Youths, the coordinator of Christian Youths, and the coordinator of Village Youths, Capo, to kindly join me on stage for the next presentation. Yes. As I invite the winner from Ikonini Federal Constituency, Inemesed Etem. Inemesed from Ikonini. All right, thank you, DJ. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me invite Capo now to kindly join me and make the next presentation for Uyo Federal Constituency. Inubong Omoren. Inubong Omoren, can we put our hands together? That is Inubong Omoren, please. Congratulations. Congratulations. I think Mr. Nika Mefimba can help me do the next set of presentations. Mr. Nika Mefimba, please step forward. Come and help them to date and do it. From around Federal Constituency, my in-laws, Wilson Onofiok. Can we put our hands together for Wilson Onofiok? From Eket Federal Constituency also. Okay, we'll skip Eket. From Eket Federal Constituency, Bennett Etnum Ilaumo. And again, please just do that one more presentation for me. Bennett Etnum Ilaumo from Eket Federal Constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Bennett. And from our back, Mfon Lazarus.
Okay, so if you notice, we had, after we went through all of that, we noticed that we had more of the men, so we needed to create some form of balance. And that's why we're having the second person again coming from 18 and federal constituency. That's Blessing Akpan. So please, Blessing Akpan, let's have you up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, to make the presentation for Blessing Akpan, let me invite the Vice Chairman of one of the best local government areas to come from, Ibesikwa Sultan, to kindly come forward and make the presentation. All awardees, please take your plaques to the red carpet right outside here so we can have a photo session together. All awardees, please.
Stock I have available, I know what I have sold so far, I know the income and outcome of the entire budget of my shop with the help of my Entrepreneurship Goals program. So with time, I intend to have shops all over the country to see how every household have at least good food on their tables.